Hi. So we don't really have a ton on the table. And that's what I love about this is you don't have to have, there's not a lot. And a lot of this stuff you'll probably have laying around. The only thing that you're not going to have, I would say, is going to be the alcohol inks. You can pick these up at your local craft store. I do have a link for Amazon. We are using the Tim Holtz alcohol inks. These have been my favorite. I think I like, there's nothing of Tim Holtz that I've found that I just don't like.
You know what? I'm pretty sure I saw those on sale at Joann's. I know those are from Hobby Lobby, but I feel like I saw them at Joann's on sale online on like Thursday.
Yes.
So you may be able to snag those for cheap right now.
Yeah, you definitely probably could. So let's go overhead. The pack that I actually bought, or that I'm using for the amber glass, it comes in like a 3-pack of browns. So you have a ginger, a latte, and a caramel, however you want to say it. It's caramel. It's caramel to me. Some people like to say caramel, but anyway.
Pajamas.
Exactly. But I know that our Hobby Lobby, after I think I bought the last pack of these when I was making all of these ornaments, and they've not had it since. This color scheme. I don't know if there's more people coming in or if they've just not ordered any more of it. But anyway, like I said, I do have the link on Amazon. You can check Joann's, lots of different places. So yeah, we're using like just a mixture of the different browns. I also have this pack. It's got a teakwood in it. We may try it. It's a darker brown today.
Ooh.
And I think I'm going to try like these different, I think I'm going to try like a blue one and see how we like it too.
You know what? I want to say something about the color scheme.
Okay.
Because I, as a crafter and a painter, I know that Christmas time, everyone wants to use red. I want to say that you probably want to be careful using a red for this because it's going to look like blood. Do you think?
I could see that, but I could also see it being pretty.
Like a dark red maybe?
Yeah, like more of a burgundy red would be really pretty.
Not like a candy red.
Not like, exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing that you also will need, let's go overhead and show them this. This is alcohol blending solution. It is really good to have handy in case it not only is a blending solution, but it also takes alcohol ink off of surfaces. Trust me, we know because we were actually at Tanner and Courtney's house when I was doing these, and Courtney said, we'll go back to one. Courtney was like, hey, do you think I could figure out how to do that? I'm like, Courtney, you can do anything. Like, you can figure out anything. Of course you can. So she tried. We were in the kitchen. They have white countertops and white cabinets, and Courtney spilled the brown alcohol ink everywhere. And let me tell y'all, this blending solution, use it real quick. It got it right off those white cabinets and white countertops.
That's good to know, though.
So this is why I brought this little guy out. Once again, it is linked down below. So if you are going to be doing this, I would either do this on like protect your surfaces. Once you get the hang of it, like it's going to be very easy. But I like to have this on hand just in case that happens.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. So really, the alcohol ink and a trusty hair dryer is going to be what you're going to need to create these ornaments. These ornaments are 4-inch ornaments. You can get them at Dollar Tree. I think you can get them, they're $1.25 a piece at Dollar Tree. But I want to warn you guys, be careful because I know we all talk about Dollar Tree. Like, I love me some Dollar Tree stuff. But I want you guys to think about it because these are 4-inch. We also have 4-inch ornaments from Hobby Lobby as well that come in a pack of 4 that are $7.99 with 60% off. Technically makes them cheaper than $1.25 a piece at Dollar Tree.
Yeah, so just because it's $1 doesn't always mean it's cheaper.
I'm all about a good deal, y'all, and you all know that I like to share the wealth, share the deals. So yes, these are Dollar Tree, but just keep in mind, if they have them at Hobby Lobby, you sometimes can get them cheaper.
Right, and you can make a bunch of them.
Now, I do know that Dollar Tree has the 3-inch ornaments in a 2-pack for $1.25. Which would be a better deal, but the 4-inch ornaments, they only sell them singular for $1.25.
I like 4-inch ornament. I like a variety of sizes.
But a good 4-inch ornament is nice.
That's a good size.
Yeah. 4 inch is a very good 4 inches is a very good size.
Yeah.
So obviously that's what we have for our ornament part. And then we're going to be making little tags for our ornament. I mean, we're going to be using paper thin faux leather. If y'all have never used faux leather, What are you waiting for? I'm obsessed with using faux leather, and especially using faux leather with HTV on it. I feel like I've been using faux leather with HTV for like 10 projects here the last little bit.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just a fun project.
Yeah. So definitely grab you some faux leather. We got this from 143. This can be cut with your Maker series or your Explore series with a fine point blade. I think that's why I love it so much, is because really anybody can cut this with your machine. And then of course we have our Caesar Easy Weed Black Heat Transfer Vinyl. Today I'm just using scraps because the tag that I'm going to be making for this ornament is very small. So I'm just going to be using some scrap that we have. Renee says they're 98 cents each at Walmart. So
Good deal.
That's a good deal too. So with that being said,
Ryan called the dollar store the 5-quarter store.
I mean, that's what they need to call it now.
They should rename it to the 5-quarter store.
It's no longer the Dollar's Tree. It is
the 5-quarter tree.
The 5-quarter tree.
We'll start calling it that.
$1.25 tree.
That's so funny. Carol's saying that she didn't know anyone with the last name Crittenden, and I know Crittenden's from here, from East Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
I know lots.
I do too.
So,
I do too.
That's funny.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Are y'all ready to craft?
Yes.
Let's get into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go overhead. As you can see, I have already taken the tops off of my ornaments. Yes, I have spray painted the tops. They were silver. I just took some gold spray paint and sprayed them all. I actually stuck them all in some cardboard and spray painted them all in bulk. You don't have to do this. This is just a personal preference. This is just what we were going for. We just wanted the gold look. We didn't want the silver, so we did spray paint these in like a brushed gold.
It's all in the details, people.
All in the details. I cannot say that enough. Like, it's literally all in the tiniest details make the biggest difference, and you would never think that, but they really do.
Yes, they really do.
So to start out with, you are obviously going to take your top off of your ornament. And that's all we need to do to prep.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, take the top off your ornament. We're ready to go. So next, what you're going to want to do is figure out your color scheme. What I like to do with these faux amber, I felt like this brown, the latte was a little on the yellow side. Ginger was a little too red for me. So what I did is I like to mix all three together in the ornament, okay? So this is going to be a measure with your heart kind of situation, y'all. I don't have specifics on how much I do. So really, like I said, we're measuring with our heart with these. We're just gonna give a little squirt in the bottom.
Yeah, we're just going for it.
Give another little squirt in the bottom, and then we're just mixing.
Heck.
Yeah, okay. So we've got all of this. You're gonna need paper towels.
Here,
do you care to grab me those paper towels?
Not.
It's also gonna be a good idea if you all have a plastic cup handy. That way you can, if there is any excess, I always say start small and then work your way up. You don't want to have a ton of excess here in the bottom, but if you do, having a plastic cup available would be nice. That way you can catch that and then reuse it, okay? So once you have that mixed, if you want to use your alcohol blending solution, you can. All it's going to do, it's going to lighten up this color a little bit. So now I'm going to wipe off the top so that I don't get it on my hand. And you can even use this right here if you want to. We're just going to start moving this around.
Ooh, it's so pretty.
And then we're just going to start turning it toward the top, and we're still swirling it around. And now once you get to the top, you're going to want to put this here just to make sure it doesn't get everywhere. And you can see, like, I've got, probably have more in here than I needed. So we're just gonna keep on moving. Now, here's gonna be the tricky part, because we're gonna try our best to not stop moving. And Sadie, you're gonna have to go to 1 for this one. So we're just gonna keep swirling. Okay, are y'all with me? We're still swirling. You can let it sit if you want to, but we're gonna grab our hair dryer. Another thing that you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to not wear nice clothing when you do this. Just my
That shirt
suggestion.
looks nice.
It is. Do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. So we're swirling. We're not going to stop. However, whatever works best for you. If you want to keep swirling with your hand, put it up against something. But we're going to take our hair dryer and we are going to put it on the. I'm gonna put it on warm setting, and I'm gonna go back and forth between the cool shot on this hair dryer and on a warm setting, okay? So as we're spinning this, I've got it on warm. We're gonna turn it up to high, and we're going to start drying our ornament. Then I'm going to take my cool shot, and I know this is making a really, really weird sound, but then as the cool air hits it, it doesn't allow it to run as much. Oh, yeah, that's high. Okay. And then you're just going to keep moving it around and drying your ornament.
Ooh, it's so pretty. I'm going to talk my mom into letting me do her tree with amber ornaments like this. I think it will look so pretty with some pampas grass and like some macrame ornaments like the ones that y'all got for the tree.
Yes. Sorry, y'all, that sound will sometimes get to me.
Ooh, she's gorgeous.
And that's it. I mean,
that's it.
That's it. That's it. We done.
Oh, I'm obsessed with that. I love it.
I mean,
I want to have those.
They're beautiful.
I'm redoing my tree.
They are beautiful.
My tree.
I actually have them on my tree at my house as well.
Oh, did you make some?
I made a bunch to put on my tree at my house.
Y'all gotta see Lauren's decorations. They're like amazing.
They look so good on a flocked tree.
Okay,
they show up on a flocked tree.
Because I have a flocked tree, and I feel like my ornaments don't show up, but like I think that would look good, but I was unsure.
Okay, one thing I want to show you guys. So as you can see, this right here, it looks like I probably didn't dry it good enough, but this is what I was talking about when it starts to swirl. So there may be some imperfections in this, but in my opinion, like that just makes it look more like glass to me.
It does. It makes it look like blown glass. Like they blew the amber glass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to give it some swirl, you can. It is completely up to you. If you want to come in and swirl your ornament, if you want to take your alcohol blending solution, just put a couple drops in there. And then...
And that will swirl it for you?
Like it kind of makes it look like tortoise glass.
Oh, I'm obsessed.
And then you'll hurry and dry that.
That is cute.
And then it makes it look kind of more like tortoise glass.
I'm obsessed.
Or, so that's another option. You can put some more in there with the blending solution. And then move it around, and as it's kind of giving you that swirl look, dry it so that it has darker places in it. And then it looks like you have like swirl glass.
I'm obsessed with that.
Like how awesome, and how quick is that?
Yeah, that's
And
so
one
cute.
thing that I want to make sure that you guys know is I tried these with plastic and glass, thinking that glass would work better.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Glass would be better.
I truly thought that the alcohol ink would get to the, like I thought it would adhere to the glass a lot better. No, the plastic works so much better. Somebody did say, I want to see what red looks like now. I don't think we have any red, but let's practice. Let's play around with this blue because these blue colors,
That's going to look really cool when you add in that alcohol to give it that like tortoise effect. It's going to look like almost like probably bubbles, like an underwatery type.
Yes.
Did I ever tell you that my papa was a glass blower?
No.
Or my peepaw. He had sold glass at the flea market for my whole life.
Are you serious?
And it was in downtown Rutledge. They had a music store with a recording studio, and they sold blown glass. And that's how they made their living.
Everybody's loving the swirls. It does look very natural. It reminds me, and then if you wanted to, I have seen people like come in and paint like black on the outside to make it look more like tortoise glass, but I probably wouldn't.
You don't want to do. You don't want to overdo something like that.
You don't want it to be too much.
Right, like that.
You don't
want to
be too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's try. Jen said I would love to see it with green. We do have a green, but it's not like a super like pretty green. But I want to try it with this mermaid blue, and this is indigo.
Oh,
so
heck yeah! I already know I'm gonna love that.
Lindsay, we bought the alcohol ink personally at. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Sorry. We bought it at Hobby Lobby.
Can we have a moment of silence?
Can we have a moment of silence for this? Yes. We bought it at Hobby Lobby. You can get them at Amazon, really any craft store. Man, do I really want to mix that darker blue with this?
No.
No? Don't think so.
I'm obsessed with that. Listen, you know I've already started planning Ruby's second birthday party, and this just gave me an idea for a Nemo theme. What if we made little bubbles like this with alcohol inks? How cute would that be?
Okay, so in case you guys missed it, we have just put our alcohol ink in our ornament and we're just swirling it around to get it to cover all of the different areas. And you can kind of move it around. I'm gonna grab my paper towel here.
OMG, I'm obsessed with that.
And we're just gonna keep moving it. Y'all, oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
That is so cool.
And then all we're doing, we're just gonna keep moving it, keep turning it.
The color on the video is not the same as the color in real life.
Is it not?
It's not. It's not. It's really pretty on the video, but like in the real life, y'all, this is like a true aquamarine. It's like the color of a mermaid tail. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what we're doing here is I am just keep continuing to turn the alcohol ink in here, drying it. Remember, I'm on warm, and then I'm going to give it a cool shot so that it kind of finishes it out.
It looks more true when we're at camera 1. The overhead camera is making it look more blue. Yeah. It even looks good with that amber. Like you could do a bunch of jewel tones on a tree with these and it would be really pretty.
So we're just continuing to twirl it around and dry it. And how I like to tell if it's dry is when I hold it upside down and I don't see anything run. Okay? So
Lindsay said she loves this more than the glitter ornaments.
I'm telling you, I tried to convince Tanner that this was the ornament of the year.
Like, this is like the new.
This is the new.
Yeah.
Because I think they're beautiful.
Right.
Because you can literally do any color. You can add stuff to them. You could still put glitter inside of them if you wanted to. I mean, I don't know why anybody,
I would love to see them on a flat round ornament or like a flat square ornament. Like how could you make it work? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That way you could apply vinyl easier a little bit.
Yes.
But I don't know. I love these without anything on them, y'all. Like if you're going to add something, add it to the topper like we're going to.
And one thing that you can do with these, I saw somebody say something about putting lights in them. Mm-hmm. One thing that I did at my house is I ended up not putting the thing back on the top, and I stuck a light inside and just stuck it on the light in the tree so that the light illuminates the ornament from the inside.
Oh, okay.
So it's, but we also have a very full tree at our house. Like I have a very, very full tree. So me just sticking it in there, like it stayed because there was so much around it.
Right. I love that.
So that is possible. Somebody asked us what we were doing with the faux leather. So what we're doing with the faux leather, we're just gonna like add a tag to one of these ornaments. You don't have to use the faux leather if you don't want to. There is a really pretty faux leather color that would go really good with this.
Is it the metallic one?
Yes.
Do you want it, the blue metallic?
Do we want to, or do we just want to add this to the amber one?
I'll go see what colors we have.
Go see what colors we have. We like to pivot and do things that we've not done on this show. But anyway, but what I was saying is you don't have to put the toppers on this if you're putting it on your tree. Like I said, I just stuck the light from the string of lights in one, and it like illuminated it from the inside. I'm obsessed with it. So while she's grabbing that, what I'm gonna do, and you can make these to sell if you wanted to and have a tag on there that has like a family name. We're just gonna be putting the year on it. You could have like a little saying if you wanted a Christmas saying like joy, believe, hope, whatever you wanted. But we're just gonna be creating a leather tag to add onto this ornament to give it like a little something extra. Y'all know we like to be extra around here. So let's go ahead. Let me get my computer pulled up. Before we do that, I'm actually going to put the lids on all of these alcohol inks so that they do not get everywhere. And then
this.
Dee says, I agree, Lauren and Alicia. This is going to be the new big design and ornaments. This, y'all, I'm telling you, I think it is. And I tried like thinking of lots of different ways to do this. I tried figuring out, you know, what would work best. I tried a couple different methods. I tried paint, water down. It just didn't give the same effect as this alcohol ink. And the alcohol ink dries so fast because, as you all know, alcohol is evaporates very fast. So that's why I like using the hair dryer to evaporate all of that moisture and it stays in place. It's not going to scratch off because it's on the inside.
Right.
So it's very durable. Very, very durable.
I love it.
So let's go ahead to our share screen, and I'm going to show you how we're going to make the tags. So we're going to go to our cut file section of makersgonnalearn.com. Also, y'all, raise your hand if you are loving the new Makers Gonna Learn website. I'm obsessed with it. Banner. No. Okay. So we're going to go to accents. We're going to go to accents because I know this is where I found these. I thought there they are. Banner 1. So we're going to be using this banner 1. First, I'm going to sign in because it's not letting me sign in, or I'm not signed in. Once again, we're going to cut files. Sorry, y'all. Accents. I just pulled it up. We'll type in banner again. And we'll try to go to accents again. There we go, banner 1. We're going to download banner 1. We're going to unzip this file, okay? And then we are going to open Cricut back up. We're wanting to upload. We're going to upload an image. We're going to pull our Finder into view. We're doing banner 1 and we're wanting the SVG version. So we're going to pull banner 1 into Cricut. I'm going to hide our Finder again, bring Cricut back up, and then we are going to upload these banners into Design Space, okay? So now that we have our banners pulled in here, we're gonna come up here to ungroup because we're only gonna be using one banner. So this is where you get to choose which one you want. If you want the one that's kind of wavy, straight, literally you can choose whatever banner you want. This is all a personal preference. So I'm going to be using this banner. So I'm going to delete out all the others that I do not need. And then we'll zoom in so we can see it. We're going to look at the sizing, okay? So let's go back. We'll go overhead and we're going to kind of get an idea of what size banner we want or need for our ornament, because remember, if you do this, you're going to have your top on and then we're going to tie it and it's going to hang off the side. So to hang off the side, I would say, you know, you can work with up to 4 inches in length. So let's go back to our share screen. We're already at 2.5. So I think a happy medium would be about, let's do 3.5. So that's going to be 1 inch in width and 3.5 inches in length. Okay. From there, I'm going to change my color. This is just because, so I will know the difference. It'll cut separately because we are going to be cutting faux leather and HTV. And then I'm going to grab my text box. And here is where you can personalize it to your liking. We're going to be using the Demonstrate font. And you're going to see us use this Demonstrate font a lot this week. Okay, because we decided that we wanted it all to be cohesive all across the board. So that's why we're using the Demonstrate font. for our tag because we also used it for our centerpiece. We used it for our stocking tags. So
that's a good design hack too if you're a decorator.
Yes.
Especially for events and stuff, to use the same fonts throughout all of your decor. It just looks better.
Yes. Okay. So we are going to, I'm just going to put, do we want to put the year? Do we want to put a saying? What do we want to do today?
Which one are you putting it on?
It doesn't matter, whichever one you think.
Just put the year.
Okay, we're just going to
think of anything crazy.
So whatever you decide to put on there, you're going to go ahead and type it in. We're going to drag and put it here. We're going to make sure it fits. If it fits, it ships. Every time I say make sure it fits, that's what I think of. And then pretty much you're good to go. So let's grab another text box and let's just say we wanted to add a name. Alicia. Oh. And then what we can do, so as you can see with this font, the letter A is a fairly big letter. So what if we wanted the rest of the name to be this big, but we did not want the A to be as big because, look, it's almost hanging off this tag. So what you're going to do, this is just something that I've kind of thrown in that I just thought about. We're going to do a small training with this. If you are wanting to resize maybe one letter in your text, in your group of letters, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Advanced and you're going to ungroup this to letters. And then you can see over here on our Layers panel that all of these letters are different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the Layers panel because I don't like trying to click and grab here because a lot of times when I try to click here, I click the wrong thing and I mess it up.
Yeah.
So I love working from the Layers panel. So I'm going to grab that A, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to size it down just a hair, and then I'm going to use my keyboard and move it back down and over toward the rest of my name. So we're going to grab it again. I still think it's a little big. Size it down. I'm moving my keyboard to move it over and back down to fit the rest of my name.
Gorgeous.
I mean, once again, it is literally all in the details. Like that's one detail for this specific tag that you may not think you needed to do, but I like how you can still read the rest of the name and then just size your first letter or your big letter down just a hair.
I love it.
Makes a huge difference.
Yep.
So now that we have ungrouped to letters, you're not going to want to go to Make It, because if you go to Make It, all of these letters are going to be separated out everywhere. What you're going to want to do, once again, working from our Layers panel, if you are new to Cricut, working from your Layers panel is, in my opinion, one of the biggest, I guess you could say, hacks that I taught myself.
Yeah.
Because I was able to, I don't know, move things here without moving them because I know I have it on the design where I want it, and I don't want to move it, but I know I want to work with all of these different letters. So we're going to click Control or Command, whichever one. If you're working with a Mac or a PC, it's Control or Command, and we're going to select all of these letters, okay? Once we have selected that, there's a couple different things you can do. You can attach them, or you can combine them and go to Unite. Now, Unite is one of the new functions in Design Space, or you can weld. It's really going to be your personal preference. Just know that if you come back to weld, then you are not going to be able to undo that if you save this project and then come back. That's why now I really like to work with Unite, because once I unite that, as you can see, it becomes one layer here. You can still work with all of your different letters, but then I can select this and come back in here and undo Unite.
Right.
So I do like using Unite. If you were to use Weld, you do have to come back in here, ununite them. They're still selected. And then if you just don't want to have all of these different letters on your Layers panel, you know you're good to go, then you can weld. And what's going to happen is it's all going to become one thing, weld result.
Right.
So that's just a preference, however you like, whatever you want to do. Oh, Shelly said, using my keyboard, what did you do? Okay, so what I was talking about, let's go back to undo, and then I'll have, we'll just select the A. So Shelly, I resized my A. So let's say my A was over here, and I wanted to move it back toward the rest of the name, back toward the second half of Alicia. If you'll go overhead, once you have your whatever you're wanting selected, to move it in Design Space, all you have to do is hit your up and down arrows. So go back to our share screen, and here you can see me moving my A using my arrows. That way I can get it a lot more precise than if I'm moving it manually. So does that answer your question? I don't know if a lot of people do that. I am obsessed with doing that, especially if I'm trying to get things closer together, but I don't want to move anything else.
Right.
Because I have trouble, a lot of times I'll select this A, and then I'll move it too close to my L. Well, then I'll need to come in here, and then I've accidentally not grabbed it, but I want to grab my A, but my L is in the way, so I don't know.
Layers panel helps a lot for
Layers
stuff like
panel
that.
does help, but I also like using my keyboard to move my letters around.
And then if you want to go in the Layers panel and select multiple layers, you can hold the Shift key or the Command key or the Control key. The Command key for the Mac and the Shift key are going to allow you to select multiple layers. I use the Shift key. Lauren uses the Command key. And then if you're on a PC, it would be the Shift or Control key.
Yes.
So they work as the same function.
Lindsay, yes, we purchased our faux leather from 143. If I don't know of a backup.
This is Cricut brand.
Okay.
This metallic leather is Cricut brand, and it works good. And I don't really love all of the Cricut brand stuff, but I love their faux leather.
So Cricut brand faux leather.
Yeah.
This one specifically is from 143. I don't think it is Cricut brand.
No, I don't think so either.
But 143 Cricut are about the only two that we use faux leather wise. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and hide our 2022. After we've done that, I did ungroup my letters. So let's go ahead and group these back, attach, group, combine, unite. Well, whatever. It's all gonna pretty much.
Right, it does the same thing.
It does the same. So now we're just gonna go to make it. And that's it. We're going to obviously mirror our design for our HTV. And I'm gonna go over here.
I brought in those other colors just in case you wanted to use them.
Somebody did say something about green. This is a shamrock green.
Ooh.
I will say, I've tried the lime green. The lime green is not my favorite, or this one. Now, these are not Tim Holtz, so I don't.
Oh, okay.
They're different. We just had these. So because we are cutting our HTV first, I'm putting my HTV on my mat.
Shiny side down.
Shiny side down, y'all. Shiny side down.
Just sing it in your head.
Always sing it, y'all. Another thing that's good is to put a sticky note on your Cricut that says, stop. Are you using HTV? Did you mirror? I had that on my silhouette when I was teaching myself. So now we're just going to load this into our Cricut. I'm going to press continue over here on the share screen. We are connected to our maker. We are using a maker today. You can do this with an Explore or a Maker series. We're using Everyday Iron-On with the HTV, and then we're press and go.
Go.
Press and go. Okay, so once we have that, I'm going to take my True Control knife. I'm just going to cut along the edges of our HTV. Y'all, this is a standard grip mat that is definitely more like a strong grip mat. We have not put it on. It's literally bringing that up off. It's bringing the carrier sheet up off that HTV.
Oh, what?
What? Yeah.
That's aggressive.
So aggressive.
What's it?
There we
Megan's
go.
asking how Ruby's doing. She's fine. She has a double ear infection for the 3rd time. So we got an ENT referral today, so we'll see how that goes.
We see.
Yeah.
So now, keeping this on the mat, I'm just going to weed my HTV. If y'all don't weed on the mat, what are you doing? Alicia doesn't. I'm going to call her out.
I know. I forget. I'm really do it really fast, and I just pull it off and don't even think about it.
I just think it's so much easier to weed on the mat. Ugh, I just love it.
If y'all didn't know, I used to weed with a sewing pen for years. For years. I didn't even know a weeding tool existed. I didn't know that was a thing. I just used my US cutter, and I found a way that I liked and stuck with it for years. And then I started using the weeding tool in January when I started working here. So just work with what you got, I guess.
Work with what you got. So now that that's done, we have that cut out. We're going to set it to the side. And then we're just going to pull in our faux leather. We are going to place it on our mat. Now, one thing that you can do if you want to, let's go back to our share screen. And let me find my, oh, there it is. I had to find my mouse. So one thing that you can do here, and let's go back and I'll show you. Let's just go back. I personally like using a hole punch. You can use a hole punch and punch a hole in this leather. However, if you don't want to, what you can do, and I don't know why I didn't think about showing you guys this earlier, is you can grab a basic shape. So let's say we have a circle, size our circle down really, really small. We're gonna zoom in, and then we're gonna take this circle, we're gonna scroll over. We'll probably move Alicia down just a smidgen. And then you can place your circle here and have your Cricut cut it for you if you want to. So what you would do is you're going to select both the banner and the circle, come down here to your new design space functions, and you're going to hit exclude.
Perfect.
Perfect. And then we're going to come over here, and I'm just going to move this back down to be behind. So now that we'll go back to our designing. So we've got our faux leather on here. We're going to burnish it down. We're going to go back to make it because we did, and we're going to go back to this second mat. We're going to grab our faux leather, if I can pick it up with my nails, and then we're going to load it into our Cricut.
I love it.
And then we're going to be using the faux leather paper thin setting. Love this setting. It cuts right through. So good. I just sounded like Tanner. What about it? What about it?
Sherry Bouchamp, and if I'm saying your last name wrong, correct me because you're here a lot and I feel like we need to know your last name. She said, if I have a design with lots of small parts and different colors, how can I get them to stay in place? Attach changes the color because attach will make it all one color, obviously. And she has a lot of small stuff. So there are a couple different ways you can do that. You're wanting them to cut where you want them, where you've designed them, right, is what I'm assuming. So you can group them. Grouping is great, keeps everything the same color. Or, I mean, that would be it. That would be it. You would attach everything that is the same color, and then you would group everything that you want to cut in its place. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I got kind of questionable there for a minute because it looked like, but look how good that just comes right off.
Love it.
And then we're just going to take our mat and that centerpiece, yep, there it is. There it is.
Popped right out.
And then it's ready for us to apply the HTV on it. So we are going to be using, and I forgot to turn it on.
It takes like 30 seconds though.
Those
mini presses, they're chef's kiss.
We're going to be using the Cricut Mini Easy Press at a heat setting of 2. And if you all were here for Black Friday, I guess I'm just stuck on HTV on leather, which I did. Leather was the thing that I drew out of the bag. So
lucky for you, you'd already done it before.
Lucky for me, I had already done it. But yeah, this is, let me pull this up. Putting HTV on leather has, like I said, become one of my favorite things here recently.
Also, I'll say, if you've got real leather sitting around, cutting real leather and cutting faux leather are not the same cut settings.
No.
So we have, in our Maker U course, we do like I did like a real leather basket, and the cut settings are a little bit more intense. Like the faux leather cuts so easy. It's like cutting glitter cardstock. Like you just have to add a little bit more pressure is all.
Yeah.
So just make sure you're using faux leather for this. I think faux leather is going to work better anyways because it's more flexible.
Yes. So I'm like Alicia. I love working with regular leather. I've worked a lot with regular leather, cutting it on the Cricut, tooling leather, all that different stuff. But there are some projects where faux leather works better because it's flimsy, and really it makes it fits certain projects better.
Right.
I actually just finished making one. It's going to be coming out. I think maybe we're doing a live on it pretty soon. Where I thought, y'all, I've got to use real leather for this. It's going to look so much more professional, blah, 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 blah. No, faux leather did the job.
Right.
Faux leather worked so much better.
Yeah.
Faux leather worked so much better.
It's just good for crafting, I think.
So now that we have this on a heat setting of 2, yes, I should probably have this on a mat, but y'all, who needs a mat? I just like to go in and...
We like to live our life on the edge.
We like to live our life on the edge. We're just going to give that a little heat press. And then boom. It's done.
She's crispy.
She done.
I love it.
Lindsay said she finally got a mini easy press. It's a life-changing
I keep it
tool.
on my desk. I'm always got the mini press ready to go.
Tool. Michelle said Dollar Tree has faux leather as well. Yeah, like if you've never worked with faux leather, you can check it out at Dollar Tree. But we are going to make one more of these ornaments for you guys, okay? Because we did have someone ask, and then after that, we'll put the top on and we'll be done. So, there's my hair dryer. What we're doing, if we are doing the amber glass, remember I like using the Tim Holtz alcohol inks. We're using all 3 of these colors because I think it just gives a beautiful amber. You can use one or the other. You don't have to. It's just... This one has more yellow undertones. One of them has more red. So I think mixing them together, I like it the best. So we're just doing a little squirt of each.
And make sure you got your hair dryer on hand before you start crafting. That way you're not scrounging to go get your hair dryer and trying to spin your glass.
So now that we've got the alcohol ink in there, and this is going to be with whatever color you want. It doesn't have to be the amber. We are going to start spinning our ornament so that this alcohol ink covers the whole thing. And as you are spinning, you are turning it toward the top. It's also a good idea to have a plastic cup handy, because if you have excess of this, you can tip it over and let it spill out. So like right now, I would probably, you can see here, I've got some excess that's spinning. I would probably need to put that in a plastic cup, but what I'm just going to do is, because we're just doing it today, I'm going to go ahead and spin it this way and just let it fall into this paper towel real quick.
Someone made a good point. The Dollar Tree has faux leather.
Yep.
I forgot, and it's like not really bad looking. Like it looks pretty decent. I haven't cut with it before.
Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to continue spinning. Sadie's going to go to 1. We're going to grab our hair dryer on medium setting. You don't want it to be too hot. And then we're just going to start drying as we spin, okay? I also like to do a little cool shot so the heat doesn't affect the alcohol ink. And then turn it upside down. I can see it still dripping a little bit, so I'm just going to keep on with the hair dryer.
You know what someone said to use earlier?
What?
The scalp massagers. Like put it in the scalp massager and then you can just kind of spin it like in between your fingers.
You could.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Whoever said that, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. That's a good idea. Gorgeous.
And then that's it.
I love it.
There you go. And then what we're going to do, we are going to take our top. We're going to place our top back in. And these do dry fairly quickly, so it's not like it takes an extended period of time to dry. We're just going to place our top back in, and then we are going to take some jute twine. We're going to grab our little tag.
Someone asked about using a heat gun, and I just think that's too hot.
A heat gun is going to be too hot. It's going to really, that's why even on a medium heat setting, I suggest doing a hair dryer. I mean everybody has a hair dryer too.
Right, and a heat gun gets up to like 700-800 degrees. Like it's toasty.
And then we're just going to tie. Actually, I need to straighten this out a little more. We're going to take our little jute and then just tie us a little bow here.
That's just darling. I love that.
Uh-oh. What did I do here? I did something. Anyway. You tied in a little bow, tied in a knot.
Put it in a bun.
And I can put it in a bun. And then we're going to cut off the excess. Let's find me some scissors.
There's no telling what would be in that drawer, honestly.
Y'all, I had to clean up from Black Friday, and it was horrendous. Let me just tell you.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize you had to do that this morning.
There you go.
Oh, that looks
Look how
so
cute.
good. I love it. Very cute.
Alicia's first ornament for this year.
My first ornament.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, let me see. This looks so legit, y'all. This looks like a legitimate amber glass ornament, like I'm tripping.
I'm telling you.
In real life.
I'm telling you.
Like, I feel like even on screen, it probably looks even better. Like, this is legit. I love it. This is, I brought out some things that have the bows that we're actually going to be making today. So little history on me. I used to work for a pottery studio, and we did not only pottery, but we did signs and canvas painting classes, and I taught almost all of those while I was there. But I made all the bows. I had to learn how to make the bows. And y'all, I would have classes of like 50, like 30, 50 women at the most. And I would listen. I'd be like, listen, y'all got to make your own bows. Yeah, everybody's got to make their own bows. I can't make that many. Somehow I would get sucked into making all the bows. So I got really good and really fast at making bows. And then last year when I was pregnant, I run my own business most of the time before I worked here. But at the end of my pregnancy, I could not do that because I was in a wood shop and I was super pregnant, okay? So I started working at a florist. Well, I did all the bows at the florist. So here we are. I have been honed in as the bow professional, I guess.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna show you all what I know. A lot of you all probably already know how to make some of these bows, and you've probably used a bow maker. I do not use a bow maker. I use my hands, what the good Lord gifted me with. So we're gonna be using our hands today. We're not using anything fancy. The most fancy we're getting is a hot glue gun. We've got wire cutters. I've got some scissors, and then we've got our trusty Lynn Lily hot glue gun. And then I have some floral wire. This is not even a necessity for what we're making, but definitely a good little option to have if you're adding in greenery. So I'm gonna start from the easiest and we're gonna work our way down. I've got 4 different bows to make for you all, but let's just start with the easiest one, and that is a rag ribbon. So you can see right here, let me pull it overhead so y'all can see really good. This is what I call a rag ribbon, and y'all, if there's an official name for these, tell me. Because me and Lauren were setting it up, and I was like, this is my fancy bow, this is my rag ribbon. And I don't know if that's the exact name for it, but basically you can make this little rag bow using scrap ribbon, random pieces of ribbon lying around. You don't necessarily have to use wired ribbon for these either. And so I'm gonna show you all how to make this one to start. So I've got a few different ribbons here. Let me pull them into the frame. I'm gonna move all this stuff out except for my scissors. So I've got 3 different types of ribbon here. Now, these 2 are not wired. This one is wired. Whenever you're doing the rag ribbon, because it's smaller and more dense, you don't necessarily have to have a wire on the edge because we're gonna be tying it in the middle. And it's gonna allow it to like floof itself out. Floof? Is that a word?
It
I'm
is
probably
now.
going to be using the word floof a lot today.
We're going to floof it up.
We're going to floof it up. So Brenda said Alicia is the bow specialist. I'll claim it. I'll take it. So what we're going to do to start is, well, before we start cutting it, I like to use different widths of ribbon whenever I'm doing my rag ribbon. So you can see these are all different widths. So I don't know exactly. I would say this one's probably like 3.5. This one's probably 3, and this one's probably 2. So that way, whenever we stack them, you're going to be able to see them right in front of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. I love this ribbon. And y'all, I've been really into like green and black for Christmas this year. I did put my Christmas stuff up and didn't do green and black, but like, low key, if I was redoing my colors, that's what I would do.
Listen, everybody in the office knows that we've had a time at my house deciding what colors to do.
It's been a journey at Lauren's house for Christmas.
It has been such a journey. But we're done. We're officially done.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is make this as wide as I'm going to actually want it for its finished product. So I'm going to do one that's about this wide. So I'm just going to cut it right here. And remember, we're going to be dovetailing these whenever we get done. So I'm just cutting this. Make sure you've got some really good sharp scissors. I don't want to say I recommend fabric scissors because these wired ribbons, you're going to be cutting through the wire. So don't use your best scissors, but don't use your crappy ones either. So, because we want a really good, clean cut. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. You need some like special ribbon scissors is what I would say. Now this ribbon's almost the same thickness as this deer ribbon, but it's sheer, so that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and make these the same length. And I'm gonna make 2 of these. Okay. I'm actually going to make 2 of the reindeer ribbon too. I think I want to have, I'm going to do 2 of everything. How about that?
I think that'd be good.
How about that? Catch me
Listen,
outside.
the more layers, the floofier the bow.
Exactly. You want it to be as floofy as possible. And don't be scared to like try different ribbon pairings together. Get crazy. I love adding like a layer of a glittered ribbon or a layer of a plaid ribbon even. Mixing patterns and stuff looks really good in bows. A bow is a good place for you to tie your project together, I think. It's like the cherry on top, you know?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got 6 pieces here. I have 2 of my deer, 2 of my sheer, and 2
2 of my deer and 2 of my sheer.
Megan said I ruined my fabric scissors cutting wired ribbon. I know, I feel you, girl. I have done it many a time. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I've got both of my 2 pieces here, my 2 black pieces, and I've got my 2 green pieces. I am literally stacking these right on top of each other, okay? I like to put my biggest ribbon in the back, and what we're gonna do now is find the middle. Now, if you're real picky, you can actually fold this up and like match it on the sides. Listen, I'm an eyeballer. I am not a perfectionist. I'm so sorry. But you can like fold it in half and kind of bend it. And so you know that's where the halfway point is. And what you're gonna do is cinch this right in the middle. So we're just cinching it. Now, this is up to you. Some people like to tie a piece of like another piece of their scrap fabric, or you can take a piece of wire. Don't forget that your wire is probably going to show a little bit if you choose to do wire through the middle to hold this together. But since this is green, I'm going to use this. I'm just going to cut like a small little piece off of this, just like, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. And then I'm going to cinch it right in the middle. And we're going to put this on the front, okay? And we're just gonna bend it towards the back. So I'm bending it towards the back. It looks like this. And we're just gonna twist it in the back like a bread tie. So just twist, twist, twist. And then you can trim off the excess. Now this wire's green and my ribbon's green, so it looks good. If you did not want your wire to show, you can always, I'm gonna just squish this down as good as I can with my hands. This is thick wire. You can use.
It is. So my favorite, and I think it's because we just don't have any, like, we couldn't find the floral wire.
Yeah, the floral wire is the best.
The very thin, like, malleable floral wire is my favorite.
Yeah, and you can't see it nearly as much.
No.
If you don't want this to show for some reason, you can always clip off a piece of extra fabric. And what I like to do is fold it up a little bit. So I'm just going to fold this right side in and then fold this left side in. And I'm gonna glue this on the back of here. This is like totally extra. My hot glue gun was not on. Hold on. Hold the phone, everybody.
Hold the phone. Lindsay says, while you're pulling up, she says, I have a huge stash of ribbon and don't know how to make bows. After today, I'm gonna dive into some bow making. You better have the best, after this tutorial, I want to see like the best bows on presents.
Yes, if y'all are members and you start making bows, I need to see them.
Yeah, we need to see them on the Facebook group.
I'm going to revisit this because my hot glue gun wasn't heated up. So what I'm going to do now, while the hot glue gun is heating up, I'm going to dovetail my ribbons. I dovetail my ribbons all the time. If you're like, what the heck is a dovetail? Let me just show you. You're gonna know what a dovetail is after today, and you're gonna be able to do it flawlessly. So what I like to do is take an end of any of my ribbons. I'm gonna fold it in half like a hot dog. I always say that and everyone's like, a hot dog, but it is. It's like long ways, like a hot dog, okay? So you've got an open end. We've got this open end and we have a closed end. You're gonna want to cut with your scissors. We want to cut up at a 45-degree angle towards the closed end. So my open side is over here. My closed side is over here. I want to cut up toward the closed side at a 45-degree angle, just like this. This is why you need good scissors for this part. And look, that's a dovetail. You're gonna repeat, we're gonna do it again. So I'm gonna fold this in half. You can fold it this way. I could have even folded it the other way. The important part is that you're cutting towards the closed edge. That's the most important part. And you need to be cutting it like I'm gonna say it's like a 45-degree angle, okay? Cute, cute, cute. So we're getting somewhere. It's starting to look better. And I like to cut the ribbons that are in the front a little bit shorter than the ribbons that would be behind it. That way everything shows. So I'm just gonna keep on cutting, keep on cutting. Do y'all have questions so far?
We did have, so Ty and Roland both asked or said about zip ties at the same time. Yes, zip ties work really good when it comes to doing these as well. Like if you have some zip ties laying around, especially because they make the little teeny tiny ones.
Yes.
Those zip ties will work if you have them.
Right. I also want to say when you're dovetailing, your folded edge needs to be very flat. If it's not, whenever I cut it, let me see, I'll do one just so y'all can see. So you can see here, my corner is very crisp. It's a very crisp. If I come over here and try to do this, I'm gonna show y'all. If you fold this in half, remember we're cutting up towards the open edge, but I didn't flatten my ribbon. I'm just gonna cut it. Well, that one actually looks pretty good. But sometimes this will be rounded if you don't cut your ribbon, if you don't flatten your ribbon. So make sure you flatten it really good. I'm just gonna keep on working my way around here. Okay.
I love how these are the, what did you call them? The
rag ribbon?
Rag ribbons are probably one of the easiest ribbons to do, but it gives so much dimension.
Yeah.
I love them.
And you can tile your colors in with rag ribbons. Like you can, if you're doing red, green, and pink or something, you can add all of those colors in your ribbon so your whole project gets tied together.
Really and truly, like people are asking, can you use this? Can you use that? Pipe cleaners, zip ties, bread ties, if you have extra bread ties.
Right.
You really use whatever you have handy just to secure that. If it's got some type of wire or some way of holding that together, you can even use string. Like,
right.
It's not limited to one thing that you have to use.
Exactly. So now that I have all of my pieces dovetailed, what I'm gonna do is start from the back. And I'm gonna pull this out as much as I can, okay? I'm just separating the layers. So we're floofing it out, people.
Floofing it, guys, we're floofing it.
It's happening. So look how beautiful this side is and this side's still all together. I'm gonna floof all this out. The bigger the bow, the closer to heaven. I know it's for hair, y'all, but listen, I love a big bow, especially at Christmas. Okay. This is our rag ribbon. That's it. That's it. Well, hold on. We're gonna glue our little piece on so we can cover our thing. So earlier I was gonna cover our wire. I just cut off a piece of scrap ribbon. What I did is roll it up. Just roll it up so it's like a little thin sliver. I'm gonna glue this to the back of my bow using my hot glue. Okay, just like that. Attach it here. I'm just gonna hold that on there for a second. You wanna make sure that it's cooled down a little bit. Okay, hold it in place. And then we're just gonna bring this around the front.
Bring it around
town. And then I'm gonna glue it again and trim off the excess. So I'm just gonna glue this right here. Okay, and some of y'all may find that this isn't the easier one for you. You may think the other ones are easier. This is gonna be personal preference. I think this one's the easiest because you can just, I mean, once you learn how to dovetail, like.
Well, I mean, it's not that this one is, I think it's one of the easier ones, but I also love this ribbon is because you can literally, it's called a rag ribbon because you can take scrap pieces of ribbon.
Right.
And add them together, and like the possibilities are endless with this one.
Right. And so after you do that, you can re-fluff it out, and then you'll probably end up gluing it to whatever you're putting it on. You'll have to fluff it out again. Just make sure that your hot glue is completely dried. And you can also take a staple gun and like staple these back layers to whatever you're applying this to, especially if it's like a wood sign or something, and that way it does not fall off, because hot glue and a bow on a wood sign will melt off on the front door of whoever's house it's hanging at. I'm just telling y'all from experience. Okay, that's it. Any questions about rag ribbons? Anybody?
Listen, honestly, the comments for the amount of people that we have a little over 200 here.
Yay!
They've been a little, I think people are just like honed in to learn how to make these ribbons.
They're just watching.
Yes.
Okay, now the next thing, this is what I like to think of as a perfect bow. This is like the most perfect little bow you can make. You can do this with wired ribbon or non-wired ribbon. I'm actually going to be using this Dollar Tree velvet ribbon. If y'all didn't know, Dollar Tree has some beautiful velvet ribbon.
I'm telling you, their velvet ribbon is
every color. Like they had fall colors, they have Christmas colors. They also have wired ribbon at the Dollar Tree. This is the buffalo plaid in their $3 to $5 section. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. But what we're going to be doing, this is one of my favorite ones to teach because I feel like people think that this ribbon is so hard, and I'm just cleaning off my surface. I think people think this is so hard, and when I show them, they're like, oh, that was so easy. So what you're going to need to do, we're just going to take, I don't know, 18-ish inches. I'm just guessing. It doesn't have to be 18 inches. It's going to depend on how big you want it. I'm just going to take a little chunk of my ribbon, one piece, okay? I'm going to put the pretty side down.
This is important part.
Can y'all see what I'm doing?
Down.
Pretty side down. Can you see me now? Good. Okay. Y'all remember the US Cellular commercials? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Good.
Good. Can you hear me now? Good.
Okay, so.
Was it US Cellular or was it Verizon back in the day?
He switched. He switched.
He was a Verizon guy for years.
Yeah, and then he like went to like Sprint or something, and they still did it.
Oh, and they threw some shade. I remember when he switched.
Yeah, me
they
too.
Threw shade.
I was like, hey. Okay, here we go. So we're doing our perfect ribbon now. I've got one strip of ribbon, pretty side down. This is the ugly side. This is the pretty velvet side. Okay, pretty side down. This is one strip. What I'm gonna do is take my left side, I'm gonna cross it over and kind of add an angle, okay? I'm gonna take my other side, I'm gonna cross it over and kind of add an angle. Okay, looks like we've got an awareness ribbon. Gorgeous, right? If you wanted to do an awareness ribbon, there you go. But we're not. We're doing a perfect ribbon. So right here where it crosses and right up here, I'm just gonna grab these together because I want to cinch this right in the middle. So I'm just gonna grab this, grab that back in the middle, and then we can pinch this together. You'll get really good at knowing how to pinch this perfectly. But look, I'm gonna hold it from the back. Like, that is our perfect ribbon. That's our perfect bow.
The amount of those bows that I made this weekend, I love making those bows because they're so easy.
And they're so pretty and like satisfying to look at. So this would be a good time if you had the really skinny floral wire to use. What you can also do is just take another piece of that ribbon and go ahead and cut it.
Let me see if we've got some, I think I took all of our zip ties.
Oh.
Let me go run back here and see if we've got some zip ties real quick.
You can use it. Yeah, you can use zip ties. This is totally, you're going to find something that works for you and you're going to be like, I swear by pipe cleaners or I swear by zip ties. The thin green floral wire is probably my favorite. But for this one, I think I'm going to actually use a piece of this and then I'm going to glue this dark green velvet ribbon on top of it. I think I would like to do that. So I'm just taking a piece of floral wire and I'm just gonna wrap it around here. Okay, we're just wrapping it, and then I'm gonna twist it in the back. So this is the back side of my bow. I'm just gonna twist this wire. And then you can trim off any excess. Okay. I'm going to trim off these little tails because we don't need them. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then, so you can really see that green wire on this one. I'm going to go ahead and do what we just did on our rag ribbon. I'm going to kind of fold this up just like this. I'm just folding it. And I'm going to put a piece of glue right here with my hot glue gun. And then we can go onto the back side of our bow and attach it there. I'm going to let it cool down a little bit before I start wrapping it.
I'm pretty sure after I got back there and started looking for them that I remember taking them to to put up their Christmas decorations.
Well, that's okay. We're using what we got. Okay, so I glued it. I'm going to wrap this around. Look how beautiful. And then I'm going to glue this on the back. And we're going to trim off the excess. Watch your fingers. You probably get burned a few times making bows, especially when you're first learning. Okay. And listen, it's not going to be beautiful on the first time. If it is, great. But I don't want y'all to expect it to be perfect the first time you start making it. Just make a bunch and you'll get used to it and you'll get really good at it. And you're going to be like, dang, I'm the master. It just takes a minute. I'm going to trim off this so you cannot see it. Ooh, you can still see it. Okay, there you go. And I'll say, if you're using velvet ribbon and hot glue, just be careful because that hot glue likes to stick to the velvet really hard. And then do not forget to dovetail your ribbons. I don't want to see this, okay? I don't want to see it.
You can dovetail it or you can do like a 45-degree angle cut.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm going to show you all how to do that instead on this one. So we could do the dovetail, which was the 2 points, or you can just do the 1 point. And we can cut from one corner and kind of cut straight up like this. Oh, okay. And we can do that over here as well. This is why you need really good scissors. These are pretty good though. These are pretty good. Okay, there you go. And then you can kind of fluff up your bow part to make it more better. All right, and that's
it.
it.
As Asher would say, much more better.
Much more. This is
I know it's grammatically
better.
incorrect, but I can't help it. I can't correct it. It's just so sweet when he says that's much more better.
That's much more better, you guys. Okay, that's our simple ribbon. So we've got 2 down. Are y'all ready? Like, are y'all feeling good? Are you feeling like you can make a bow?
Everybody's just so amazed at how easy you make it look, and it really is. Once you learn the concept of how to make these bows. Bow making is so easy. And like Alicia said earlier, it takes your project from here and just elevates it.
Yes, it really does.
So many projects that you can elevate with just a simple bow.
Yes, for sure. So Matt says, I've spent hours twisting it over this, pull through that, and I don't even need to.
Nope.
That's what we're saying. Okay, done. We've got 2 down. Y'all already are learning and expanding your crafty knowledge. Okay, this is the next one. Now this is, if Sadie can flip over to this camera, this is the bow we're going to be making now. So this is, I like to call this my bougie bow because it is bougie. And these are the bows that I made when I worked at the florist out of silk ribbon. I made these constantly. Y'all, I had carpal tunnel when I was pregnant. Did you have carpal tunnel when you were pregnant?
No.
My doctor said it's pregnancy-induced carpal tunnel, which I'm an artist, like a painter, and so I used to always have carpal tunnel really bad. But making these bows, whew, Lord, it'll give you carpal tunnel.
Now, these are the bows that a lot of people will use that wooden bow maker for.
Yes.
And the reason I say, because I personally have one, my mom loves it. I absolutely hate it.
I know. And it's
a love-hate relationship.
It is.
I know Megan Irk is in here, and I know she said that saved her when it came to bow making, that she loves it. Listen, more power to you.
Right.
It was not my friend.
Yeah, and a lot of people swear by the bow makers. I have never even looked at one. I've never even put my hands on one. I just have learned over the years how to make different bows. Honestly, I might like it. I've never even tried it, so I wouldn't know. But y'all can do it without that. You can just do this with ribbons you already have at your house. So what we're going to do for this ribbon, you need wired ribbon. If you go and purchase ribbon, make sure it says wired, okay? So what we're going to do, this is the $5 Dollar Tree ribbon. So cute. They also have black and white buffalo plaid. So I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this to y'all. I do not cut my ribbon until I am like in the finito, until I'm almost done. So what I'm gonna do is just pull out a bunch of extra. If we can go to camera 1, y'all can see I've got a whole bunch of extra ribbon. I wanna have slack here so that I can actually get this ribbon flowing nicely. So I've got a little bit of slack, and then if we'll go back overhead, I'm gonna show y'all how to start this. So what I like to do, make sure you got wired ribbon. If you don't, this bow is not gonna look good, I promise. So we're gonna loop it. We're just gonna make a loop, okay? We've got one loop, easy, right? This is our center point. So this is our home. We're gonna live here. I'm just gonna look at this straight ahead. So we've got our little loop. I'm looking at it just like this. What I'm gonna do is make another loop to the right of it, okay? I'm staying at my center. I'm keeping my fingers pinched at the center.
Always coming home.
Yep, always coming back home. We're gonna do another loop on the left. Make sure you're kind of eyeballing to see that your loops are about the same size. This is something that you'll get better at the more that you make. I'm coming to center. You can rotate your hands back and forth. I'm ambidextrous, so I don't know if you would use the same hand over and over. Okay. Anyways, so we've created a loop over here and a loop over here. We're just gonna do the same thing again. I'm gonna make another loop about the same size. And look, you can see, go to camera 1. Y'all can see I'm like getting short on my slack. So it's not as easy for me to keep going. Just loosen some ribbon off of there, okay? Just loosen some so you've got some slack. I'm gonna grab it again in the middle at our home point. We're gonna keep on adding loops. Honestly, y'all, you can add as many as you want. I like to do 3 on each side. So I'm still holding the middle. I'm still creating these loops. We're gonna fan these out, so don't worry. Grabbing it in the middle.
And you're probably gonna have to untwist your ribbon too, because it's gonna get twisted up, so.
Yeah, you can just untwist it. Okay, so I've got 3 loops on each side. Now, everybody pay good close attention, okay? So what I'm gonna do next, I need to have tails. So I'm just gonna create a big loop and then we're gonna snip it in half. So I've got this extra right here. I'm going to create a really big loop. My ribbon's twisted. I'm creating a really big loop. I'm grabbing it still in the middle. So you can see we've got this big excess right here. We've got 3 loops on each side, and this was our starting loop. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this ribbon away from the roll of ribbon. Okay. And then I'm not gonna cut this yet. We're gonna cut it in a second. What I'm gonna do next is take a piece of this ribbon and tie it through the middle. So get a pretty good long piece.
While you're doing that, Jody asks, so the ribbon can't be one-sided. Yes, it can be. You just have to keep that one side up every time you create your loop.
I'm gonna show you all how to do that in just a moment.
Look at there.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you because you'll run into that. A lot of ribbons are not double-sided. I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's not as easy, but it's not that much more difficult, and I can show you all. So we've got our 3 loops, our middle loop. We've got this big old extra loop down here. I'm gonna take this little scrap piece of ribbon. I'm gonna put it through that main middle loop. Okay, I'm still holding it in the center. We do not want to release the center, okay? I'm gonna flip this over so y'all can see what I'm doing. And I'm just gonna tie it in a knot in the back. Just tie it in a knot.
So Kathy, no, the loops do not have to be exactly equal. It's actually better if they're not, I would think, because then when you fan it out, they tend to look more equal because you're moving this one up, moving another one down, correct?
Right. Well, so I like to make like them equal in terms of the width of the first one should be the same width of the second one, but then like your next one can be a little bit bigger and your next one can be a little bit bigger.
Right.
Does that make sense? So, and then what I'm gonna do is go ahead and fan these out. Just don't be scared. Just pull them out, make it fluffy. Okay, so we're fluffing that out really good. And then what I'm gonna do is cut this right in the middle. So I'm gonna take my scissors, I'm gonna cut it, and then you can dovetail your ribbon. So remember, if you miss the dovetail portion, I'll do one little quick thing. So you've got your open side over here, your closed side over here. We're gonna be cutting up towards the folded side at a 45-degree angle. If I haven't said that 15 times. Y'all gonna remember it though, right?
Always a 45-degree angle when you're cutting with ribbon. Even if you're dovetailing or not, more than likely you're gonna be cutting at about a 45-degree angle.
Okay, and so there you go. So you've got these long tails. If you wanted shorter tails, you could totally do that. This is the kind of bow that you put on top of your Christmas tree if you're into that kind of thing. You can make these gigantic. You can get really thick ribbon and do this. Totally up to
one
you.
question, when you start your main portion, can you wrap it twice? That way you can separate them out as well? Mm-hmm. So really you can wrap it as many times as you want.
Mm-hmm. You sure can. Yeah, you could do like 2 loops for the center loop. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yep,
you can.
So there's a lot of different variations for this ribbon. You could make the same ribbon twice and sandwich it together so that you have one that goes all the way around.
Yes, yeah, you can. Oh yeah, you could make 2, and that would be good for a tree too. Like if I made 2 of these, and then these can float. You can even make the tails like super long, and they can go down your tree. Mm-hmm. So lots of different options. This is like the basic cut and dry sample of how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3 out of 4. Are we good?
Yay!
Are we good? Okay, so let's do the last one. I'm gonna add some foliage in with our last bow, just so you all can know how to do this. If you're making door hangers or wreaths or something like that, listen, this is self-taught, okay? I don't know if there's the correct way to do this. This is just how I do it. I'm gonna show y'all how to make this bow right here. Well, something similar to this bow. So it's like a double perfect bow, right?
That bow is probably one of my favorites.
This one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very pretty, very sparkly, and we added in foliage.
Well, it's not just like the sparkly ribbon. I just love the double, like, first of all, the perfect bow is my favorite bow. But then adding that little extra to that perfect bow makes it chef's kiss for me.
Yes, totally. Okay, so this is the extra bow. So I've got Sadie's beautiful greenery I'm about to chop up. I didn't tell her I was going to do this. This is some greenery that we had from Hobby Lobby. We used for like photo props, but I really like it. I think it's very pretty.
Listen, one of the biggest things if you have not decorated for Christmas, or you are fixing to decorate for Christmas, whatever, the little pieces that fall off of your tree, or if you have an artificial tree or a real tree, like the tiniest little branches or little pieces of foliage that fall off your tree or fall off any kind of greenery, do not throw it away.
Yeah.
Like I have a box specifically for all of the little pieces of greenery that just kind of come off, because when you're packing and unpacking and everything else, like things are going to get kind of, you're going to have pieces of your tree, like little limbs of your tree that's going to like break off. Right. Put it in a little box. Add that to your wrapping.
Yes. Oh, I love real like pine on our box.
Yes.
For wrapping. Oh, so cute. I love that. Okay. So I've got just a strip of a strip of ribbon. This is, don't let me forget before we get off this tutorial, I'm going to show y'all how to do a one-sided version of this. If your ribbon is only one-sided and not two-sided, do not let me forget. It's a little bonus bow. So right now we're going to be making this double perfect bow. I'm going to show y'all how to do a 2-layered perfect bow. And so you're just going to need a strip like this, and you're going to need your Christmas stems. So I've got some little holly berries, and then I need some greenery. I'm just going to go ahead and trim these. Give yourself a little bit of stem when you're cutting your greenery. Like if you buy it like this, don't cut it up here, cut it down here so you've got extra stem, because we're going to put it behind our bow. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my greenery out just like this. I'm kind of overlapping them, okay? I'm going to overlap my little holly berries. Can y'all see this, or am I out of frame? A little bit, okay. So it's gonna kind of look like this, okay? I'm just gonna have that there ready to go. And then I like to kind of like do a little prep work for these just so they're ready. And then what I'm gonna do is do another strip of this same ribbon, just a little bit shorter. So let's just do it like here. Okay, it's better for it to be a little bit too long than a little bit too short. So we've got 2 pieces, right? What I'm gonna do next is make a perfect bow. with my long piece. So I'm just making perfect bow. Remember, pretty side down. So pretty side down. We're just gonna hold it in the middle, cross it over, right? This is what we did earlier with our green velvet ribbon. And you'll get good at like pulling out the tails and seeing how long your tails need to be. This one, I can already tell this one isn't gonna be as big as the door hanger bow I showed y'all, but it'll be the similar design. So we're gonna cinch it right in the middle. We're just gonna grab it right in the middle, just like this, okay? I wish I would have made this bigger.
Well, just okay. Go ahead and cut another piece of...
Well, let's just see what it looks like. We'll just see what it looks like. So we've made our simple bow. I'm not attaching it or anything like that yet. I'm gonna take this one, and listen, you'll get good at doing it with just one hand. Like, what I'm gonna do is just roll this up. So I'm basically putting it pretty side down. I'm gonna roll that edge in, and then I'm actually gonna trim this because I can already tell it's way too long. I'm gonna trim it just a little bit. Can y'all see what I'm doing? Sorry, I got a bow in one hand and scissors in the other hand. And then I'm going to pull in this end over here. So it's just folded up on both edges. And then you're gonna stack it on top of this bow and cinch it in the middle, okay? And so y'all can see how I've got 2 layers here now. But this bow's real little, so it's like harder to get the same effect. Can y'all see that? If you want it to be bigger, make sure you cut a lot of excess. But look, you can see it's the same situation.
Right.
So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna take a little piece of this wire, and we've been saying this whole time, we prefer the skinnier green wire to this thick wire, but this is working for us right now.
What we got?
So I'm just gonna bring it around town.
Bring it around town. Also, Sherry says that I wish I had a Dollar Tree Plus. We don't have a Dollar Tree Plus. We just have a Dollar Tree that has like a small like plus section in it.
Right. Okay, so I've got a little extra wire here on the back of my ribbon. I haven't cut it off. I'm gonna grab my greenery, and I'm going to take it, since we already stacked it on top of each other, it's behind my bow. I'm just gonna take this wire and I'm gonna grab all of that greenery, okay? So I'm just gonna grab it. And this would have looked better with a bigger bow, but you guys can get the concept here. So just twist it just like that. And then you've got your bow in front of your greenery. Now, don't forget to dovetail your tails.
You're gonna hear the word dovetail in your sleep.
Yes, you are. Okay, just like that. I'm actually gonna 45 these instead of dovetail. I'm just gonna 45 them.
Okay, here's my question. Okay. Do you normally 45 away from each other with the points touching each other, or do you 45 opposite?
I prefer them this way.
So you prefer the points to touch instead of the opposite?
Yes, and
see, I'm the opposite. I would rather my points be facing away from each other, kind of like it's similar to a dovetail, but they're separate.
Yes, and this is actually, I think these are called Fable ribbons. I know that because my daughter Ruby's bows I buy mini Fables all the time, and they're this shape, and they're my favorite ones. But you can dovetail them the other way too, or shoot, you can 45 them the other direction
Yeah,
too.
so you 45 whichever direction looks best. Some people prefer 45 angles this way, some people prefer 45 angles that way.
Right. I had to take my sweatshirt off because I am burning up. Okay, and so that would be our layered ribbon. Now, if you want to cover up this wire, we're just going to go back in. We're going to roll this little extra piece of ribbon up. I'm going to add some glue and glue it to the back like before. And we're going to wrap it around the front. Let me let that dry for 2 seconds. This ribbon is just pretty.
I just love that ribbon.
It's just pretty, you know.
It's party.
It's just pretty. Okay, and then I'm going to glue this on the back and go ahead and attach that, and then I'll trim off the excess. Now, before I go, I'm going to show y'all how to do a one-sided wired ribbon bow. That way you can know how to do that.
Somebody said, how come you never seem to burn your fingers on the glue gun? Honey, we do burn our fingers on the glue gun. We just don't have feeling in the end of our fingers anymore because we burnt them so much.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, so there's that one. This is something you could add to a door hanger, something like that. This is how I would do my bows. Not normally this small, but y'all get the gist of it, okay? Okay, let's do, this one will be a little bit harder to explain, but I'm going to do my best. So what I want to show you all is how to use a one-sided ribbon when you're wanting to make a bow like this. I do a short tutorial on this video that has not come out yet. Y'all look for the high-end gift wrapping ideas with Dollar Tree. I show you all how to keep this bow like this so all the pretty sides are showing and you don't see this ugly underneath. But today I'm just going to show you all how to do it with this type of bow. Also, if you get ugly tails like that, just tuck them up, tuck them behind. It's wire, so you can kind of form this however you want. So this ribbon right here is only one-sided. So you can see earlier I was telling you all make a loop, and now I was like make another loop and make another loop, and look what's happening. Like, are y'all seeing what I'm talking about? This is not cute. We do not want any of that. We want it to look like this on both sides. So what you're gonna need to do, start it like we did before. So we need to make a loop, okay? We've got our loop right here. Remember, we're staying at the center. This one's gonna require a little bit more hand work. You're gonna have to really hang on to the bow this time. But what you're gonna do is twist right here. We're gonna twist at the base. I'm twisting it tight. I'm twisting it very tight, and I'm still hanging on to my ribbon, okay? Can y'all see? I've twisted it. And then I'm going to create a loop. And then we're going to twist it again every time. And I'm twisting it very close to the base. That way I can grab it. So my fingers are still holding that. Every single time I twist, they're still holding that ribbon. Okay? And then we're going to twist every time. You want to twist at the base so that you're not twisting the whole loop you just made. You just want to twist right here at the base and let your fingers be the cutoff. Like you don't want to twist any further past where your fingers are. Twist it really good. We're going to make another loop. You're going to twist it again. And you guys will make these and they'll fall apart on you the first few times. Just keep practicing and you'll get it, I promise. So we're going to keep on making loops. Make sure you've got slack and twisting, okay? These tend to be a little bit more fluffy because you're twisting and it's adding volume, okay? And then that was our, let's see, yep, we did 3 on each side. I'm gonna go ahead and twist this one more time. My hand's like, no, it's cramping. And then I'm going to cut this off. Maybe. My scissors are done. They're like, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Done.
And then I'm just going to do, remember we had our big loop down here. I'm going to cut off an extra piece of this. Okay, and then just poke it through. And then we're going to flip it and tie this in the back. Do y'all have any questions? That's it. That's how you would do a one-sided bow. So you're just going to have to twist it at every single loop. And that's it, guys. So if we ended up doing 5 ways to do a bow.
So we had somebody ask, are some of the deer upside down compared to the center? Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, this one is, I will say, this specific ribbon would be very hard if you are OCD and you don't want some of your deer upside down. Just don't do this ribbon.
Yeah. From far away, no one's going to know.
Yeah.
No one's going to know. So yeah, they're going to be upside down a little bit, but like you still get the pattern. You still get the Christmas vibe.
Michelle said, yep, threw the bow in the air. Me and bows don't get along. Michelle, keep trying. I promise you will get it. I promise you will get it.
And if y'all make any, I really want to see them because I would love to feel like I taught you all something Christmassy today.
Yes.
Okay, so that would be our last bow. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. All right. Okay, we're done.
Done.
There's a lot of stuff on the table right now. Let's go ahead and just get into the supply. So if we can go overhead, I'll show you guys everything you need. Let's just start with the tools you're going to need today. So I've got a lot of my basic tools. We've got obviously a weeding tool, some scissors, a burnishing tool. These are like core Cricut tools. If you signed up for Makeathon, these are some of the tools that you're going to be getting in your little Makeathon kit, which we love. I've got a pair of wire cutters, paint brushes, a brayer. You can use a brayer or a burnishing tool. It doesn't matter either way. I just love a brayer, y'all. If you have been using a Cricut and you don't have a brayer, just get one. It's a kid's stocking stuffer. And then I've got a measuring tape. This is some painter's tape. I actually like the terrible painter's tape better than this stuff, but this is what I had on hand. I may actually go grab. You just need some tape that rips and isn't super sticky, like masking tape or something like that. We're gonna use it to line up our stencil. And then I've got the the Star Mask by StarCraft stencil vinyl. This is my favorite stencil vinyl. You do not need to make stencils with permanent vinyl. We might have said that in the past. I'm here to change it. I'm here to influence you. I need you all, if you're doing wood signs, I need you to invest in stencil vinyl, especially if you're doing wood signs. I will get on my soapbox about this. When you use permanent vinyl on wood to make stencils, it pulls up the wood grain on your signs, and that will mess your design up, and it's a pain to get it to look right. This stencil vinyl is so good. I used to use the Oracal 851. I always get the number wrong. That could be wrong. The Oracal stencil vinyl I used for years. It's blue. It worked really good, but I started using this when I started working here, and I was like, I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm using it forever.
And the good thing with the StarCraft, I think it's called StarCraft Star Mask.
Yes, it is.
Stencil vinyl is, especially if you're painting, this is not going to bring up that paint.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, is if you are painting, this will not, like, I don't know, the permanent vinyl to me messes with your sign. If you have it painted under your sign, or if it's just plain wood, it just...
Right, like if you painted a base layer, it'll pull up your base layer. It's just not a good scenario to be in. So the Star Mask, it is the best, Cassandra. You got it. And then the Caesar transfer, also one of my newest favorite, not newest now, but I've done stencils and signs for years, and I always use Oracal, but I really love Caesar and StarCraft. Like, they're just good. They're just the best.
I used to use contact paper from the Walmart.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of people, your transfer tape is not as big of a deal as using stencil vinyl, in my opinion.
But it never picked it up correctly, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I just didn't know. Like,
right. I just know what you know.
I didn't watch YouTube videos. I just went by what people told me, and I was just like, okay.
Me too. That's exactly how we did it too. I feel you. So we're going to give y'all the easy way out. So you don't have to do all that. You don't have to do the trial and error. We've already done it. This is the StarCraft Chalk and Mineral Paint in white. I love this stuff.
Canvas.
Yeah. Do what?
Canvas.
Canvas.
Stencil on canvas.
Oh, yes, yes. But you wouldn't really paint the base of your... Oh, yeah, you might.
Yeah, you would.
Okay. Oh my God, I got to get with the program. Sorry. Anyway, so I'm going to be using this white color today, and I'm going to go in a little bit more detail on your paint types and colors here in just a minute. I've got the green color. This is actually color matched to the ribbon that we used yesterday.
Technically
speaking, Lauren went to 2 different places looking for a color match of this green.
So this was the one that we decided to go with. But what happened was, you can take, just so you all know, if you have a specific color that you want to use in your decor, and this is for anything that you do, this is my tidbit of information. This is my life hack for you guys today.
Yeah.
Find one thing that you're like, that's it. That's the color. I don't care if it's on a t-shirt, if it's on a piece of ribbon, if it's on a canvas that you buy, piece of decor, whatever. If you find your color and that's the exact color you want, take it to your local home improvement store. They can color match. They can put that item underneath something and color match that exact color for you.
Which is cool.
So what happened was, I took the ribbon, but the only problem, because it was velvet, like when you put a shine onto velvet, y'all know you kind of get some kickback with that writing.
And it's like 2 different shades almost.
Yeah, it gave a little bit of a I don't know, like a back glare, like a glare to it. So I told the guy, I was standing there, I was like, can we add some more black?
maybe a touch of blue, and then it was like, okay, now it needs a little bit more yellow. So we played around with it.
I mean, this is
I
the
had to
color.
tell him, I had to say, like, add 2 more of like black, 1 of red, whatever. So
Listen, it's a beautiful green though. If it matches or if it doesn't match, it's very pretty. It's just like an evergreen color, and you can match it to whatever your decor is. I've got some small, I'm just going to be using 1 tiny nail out of this, but listen, if you don't have just a little hardware nail kit around your house, you need to get one. This is also a great stocking stuffer that you can add to your wish list, but we're just going to be using a small nail about that size. You don't want it to be too long because our board is not that thick, so be aware of how thick your board is versus how big your nail is. I've got a hammer, and then we got this is technically, I think, a 10-inch wreath. It says 12 by 12 by 2. So like anywhere from 10 to 12 inches on a sign this big, you're going to want to make sure your wreath is proportional to the size of your sign. So if you're doing a much smaller sign, you're going to need a much smaller wreath. If you can't find one that's super small, look in the ornaments, because I feel like they make wreath-shaped ornaments.
They do.
And get creative with your O. Like, it doesn't have to be a wreath.
Nope.
It can, I mean, whatever.
And really and truly, what you could do is you could get the teeny tiny grapevine wreaths that they sell at
Hobby Lobby,
craft stores, whatever. They have just the base of the grapevine wreath. You can get the teeny tiny grapevine wreath and just get literally whatever greenery you want and stick it in that grapevine and hot glue it down to make your own.
Yeah, because we're going to be adding some magnolia and eucalyptus to our wreath today. Not all of this, just some of it. And then obviously you're going to need a mat to cut your vinyl with. And then we have our big sign from Hobby Lobby, and I linked most of this should be linked below. I linked this exact sign below for you all. So I want to say it's like 32 by, gosh, I don't know, 28 by 32 or something like that. So yeah, that's all the supplies that you're going to need. Let's go ahead and jump into let's go ahead and measure our sign first. I feel like we need to measure our sign before we go into design space. And I know, let's go to camera 1 so y'all can see what I'm doing. I feel like overhead, you're not gonna be able to tell what I'm doing.
No, you can't.
So I've just got a measuring tape here. I'm just gonna measure inside of my frame. So I'm not measuring from the outside of my frame. I'm measuring inside. So let's see here. Okay, so I'm 28.5 by 22.5. So I'm in design space. I'm gonna pull in just a basic square, and we're gonna unlock it up here in the top. And the width is 22.5 and the height is 28.5. So we've got our space to work in. I'm gonna go ahead and change it to white because we're making a white sign. And just so we can kind of get a good visual, I'm gonna add an offset in brown so it looks like we've got our frame around it. We're not gonna be cutting this or anything like that, but just so we can have a good look at what it's gonna look like. Let's see, and then I'm gonna do sharp edges and we will change it to brown. That step is extra, that's an extra step. But this looks exactly like what our frame's gonna look like. So I've already got my letters that we used previously for this, but I want to walk you all through how to get to this point. So the first step is going to be to measure your wood sign, put it in design space the exact size that you need it. And I will say you all aren't going to be able to make a sign much bigger than this unless you're using, because the letters are going to be about 10.5 inches when it's all said and done. And you can only make your letters so big on that 12-inch mat. Unless you're using like a tall, skinny font. Yeah. With this Insistence font, which Insistence is the name of the font we're using today. I don't know. It would depend. If y'all have questions, if you do make this project and you've got questions about like sizing, just message us at the Makers Gonna Learn customer
So pretty
service.
much if you're wanting to make a sign larger than this, you can only make your width of your letters 11.5 or 11.75, I think, width. You can go taller if you stretch it out. Like some fonts look okay when they're stretched, some look terrible. One of the golden rules that me and Alicia like to harp or like to get on our soapbox is don't unlock your images and like
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Sometimes in some instances, it's okay. Fonts will, some of them will work, some of them do not.
Rarely will they work.
Rarely will they work, but sometimes they do. What if you want it larger?
Right.
What my mic? Oh.
So let's go back overhead, and I'm going to measure my wreath. So it said 12 by 12. I'm going to get like a general measurement. I'm going to kind of put it up where it's going to be. So let me pull this down so y'all can see what the heck I'm doing. So I'm going to have it up here kind of in the top right corner. And I just need to measure about how big it's going to be according to where it's placed. So, I mean, really, I'm going to do 11. Even though I'm not measuring from widest to widest point, I'm going to put an 11-inch circle in design space. So let's go back to design space. This thing doesn't want to go back in. I should be using my Maker's Gonna Learn tape measure. It works just fine.
I know.
So I'm pulling in a basic circle, and I'm going to make this an 11-inch circle. So I'm going to pull this to the right side here. And then what we're going to do is make sure we've got our font downloaded, which is the font Insistence. That is on the Maker's Gonna Learn website. And I'm just going to type in our first letter. Let me make it a little bit bigger here, y'all. So this is our first letter. We can go up here and change the font to Insistence. I love this font. This is one of my favorite, like, sans serif fonts. I'm saying sans serif, right? Sometimes I get serif and sans serif mixed up. And what you're going to do is kind of play around with the sizing until it looks right to you. So I've got the N and the O. No. I'm going to duplicate this and then go ahead and plug in my other letters. And I want to encourage you all to not use a script font for this specific project. Whenever you're using all scripts in all caps, it doesn't look right. It doesn't, especially in this format where it's like top and bottom. I'll just show you all. I'm just going to show you what this would look like if we did it in a script. Because I just don't, oh, whoa. I just want you all to see. And maybe you like this. I don't know. I think it looks a little off whenever we do this. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Does anyone agree with me? Like, yes. Already, it's looking weird to me. I feel like when you use a script, the letters need to connect. And that's what would make it look pretty. But like the letters don't connect. So you can see here why you wouldn't want to use a script font for this project. Because like, no, that's not it.
Not cute.
That's not it. So make sure you're using like more of a blocky font like this Insistence would be the best bet, honestly.
Agreed.
And then what we're going to do now, I'm just duplicating these because we already plugged them in. What we're going to do now is make sure that our sizing is as big or as small as we need it to be. And the hardest part of this whole thing is going to be lining them up on our actual board. And I'm going to walk you all through that entire process too. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not a perfectionist, but I tried really hard on this one to make it like as perfect as I possibly can. So this looks pretty good to me. Like I feel like it fills up the sign pretty good, as full as we possibly can make it without it looking like too much. So all we're gonna need to do now is cut everything. So I've pre-cut a couple of the letters, but I wanna walk you all through how to change your settings and all that. So I'm just gonna delete all of this because we don't really need it right now. And then I'm gonna go to make it. And I cut two of the letters. Let me see what I cut, the N and the O already. Or no, the N and the E. So let's cut this L. We're going to be cutting it on a 12 by 12 mat on stencil vinyl, so we do not need to mirror it. Select continue, and we're using a maker today. And then we can cut it on regular vinyl setting, but there is a stencil vinyl setting that I like to use sometimes as well. And I just use this basic stencil vinyl and I'll hit done. You don't need to change the pressure, and you're just going to use a fine point blade. So let's go ahead and put our vinyl on our mat. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. Well, okay. So I'm just braying this down. I just cut it to fill up the entire sheet. So I'll cut a piece of 12 by 12 out of the stencil vinyl, and then we're gonna go ahead and send this through the Cricut. I'm using a fine point blade. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
I definitely need that then.
Fancy. Okay, so I've got my stencils right here. So this is really technically a larger than matte stencil wood project. I mean, you could technically call it that. So I've got everything weeded out. Now we're just gonna need to weed out what we want painted on to our sign. So I'm gonna weed out the letter. I'm not gonna weed out what's around the letter. I'm gonna weed out the actual letter. So I'm just taking my weeding tool and very carefully removing the vinyl, just like this. And these letters are pretty big. The reason I did a 12 by 12 piece of vinyl is so that we would have room around our stencil. So when we're painting, we don't actually go over the edge. And you can see right here, this one's a pretty close, but since the letter's so big, we've only got so much leeway around the edges.
So Betty did ask, do you have to use stencil vinyl for this, or can you use regular? So we touched about this on the top of the show. This is one, if you are working with paints, stencil vinyl, just especially with like wood signs, if you use permanent vinyl, it tends to pull up your wood grain or pull up your paints.
Yes.
So you can, if you don't have stencil vinyl, but say you wanted to make this project today, you could go ahead and pull your permanent vinyl up with your masking or your transfer tape and stick it to like your shirt or stick it to something if you want to make this now.
Yes.
But we do, we love some Star Mask stencil vinyl. So if you do a lot of stenciling, I like to suggest people, trying it out, get a small sheet first and see if you like it.
Yeah, because I think you can get like a 24-inch strip of just the stencil vinyl on the 143 Vinyl website. And then if you really like it, you can order like a 5-foot roll or even maybe like a 5-yard roll. I don't know, you can get it in bulk. So I'm going to use one piece of transfer tape for every one of these today. So how's that on resourcefulness? Okay, so I'm going to take my transfer tape and I'm going to make it as wide as my stencil. So just trim that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and lay this transfer. Oh, I do that every time, you guys.
What?
I pull it too fast and then it slices my piece of transfer in half. It's okay. It's still usable. It's still savable. And then we're just going to lay this down like the taco method. The better you apply your transfer to your stencil, the better your stencil will lay on your piece of wood. So we want to lay this as smooth as we possibly can. I'm going to fold it like a taco and lay it down just like this. And then like this. And we're going to take our burnishing tool and burnish this down really well. I was burnishing way too hard. What'd you do? I was aggressively burnishing. Okay, so we're just gonna bray it just to be sure. And Sadie's laughing at me. So what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna lay our wreath on here. Now this is where I need you all to come back to me. Tanner always says this, okay, whatever you're doing, drop it, come back to me.
Come back.
This is the part where I really want you all to focus because this is where it starts to get a little bit more meticulous. And I'm not a meticulous type of gal, but here I am for y'all, showing up, trying to be as perfect as possible so that you guys can have this beautiful Christmas sign in your house. What we're gonna do, what I like to do, is go ahead, I'm gonna trim all of my letters up so they're somewhat have an even gap between the top and the bottom of the stencil. And this way, whenever I'm kind of laying them out, it's gonna give me a better idea of the spacing, if that makes sense. So you don't want to trim it too close, like I was saying earlier, because it's a stencil. So we need leeway around our letters. So when we apply our paint, it doesn't go off of the stencil and onto our sign. So I'm going to just trim these other ones up just a little bit. I mean, I would say like an inch around is pretty good. I mean, give yourself as much leeway as you need, really. And then I'm just going to kind of place them where they generally will be. And then we're going to get that measuring tape out and we're going to really try to line this up. Okay. So we've got all of our stuff kind of laid out here. Now, there's a couple different ways to do this. What I'm going to do, we said this was 28.5. What's, Lauren?
What?
Pop quiz. What's
Okay.
half of 28.5?
Well, half of 28 is going to be 14, so it's going to be 14.25.
Okay, so we're going to measure 14.25 from the top of this sign. So we've got 14.25, and y'all, sometimes I be eyeballing this and it's exactly. It's just an accident. Well, it's not exactly today. We've got 14.25 right there. So what I like to do is take my painter's tape and I will cut a piece off, and then I'll cut like a bunch of small little pieces off. They don't need to be a certain shape or anything like that. I will literally use this painter's tape as my guideline. So we've got 14.5 right there. I'm just gonna put a piece of tape. That's my halfway mark, and we can do it on both sides. That way we've got some sort of guideline for where the middle is going that direction. Okay, 14.25. And it's gonna be different if you don't use this exact sign. So you're just gonna have to kind of
So you're just
adjust
measuring,
it.
basically what you're doing right now is what your next step would be, is to measure your halfway point on your sign.
Yep.
No matter what it doesn't need to be exactly 14.25. You're measuring halfway point on your sign.
Right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do from here, I'm gonna take my N and butt it up to this, and I'm gonna take my E and butt the top up to it. So about there. And then I'm gonna take my L and bump that up to it. Okay, so we've got the spacing right for the most part. What we need to do now is make sure that this one and this one are evenly spaced. This is kind of where it's tricky because we've got this crazy like O over here.
Right.
That's not a stencil. So what we're gonna do now is just make sure that these are the same distance from the letter to the edge of the sign. So we're just gonna take can y'all see what I'm doing right here? Like if I'm measuring, can you see that? Okay, so I'm gonna actually take a piece of tape just to keep this in place this way. And then if we need to move it, we can just lift it up a little bit. But let's see. 22.5 is gonna be what, 11.25?
11.25.
So let's trim off a little piece of this. Can y'all see what I'm doing? Okay. So we're gonna put this at 11.25. And this is why I like the rippable painter's tape, so I don't have to cut it and I can have my hands full. So 11.25. Just putting a piece of tape. If y'all didn't know, this is how I do my scroll saw signs, except there's like literally 1,000 pieces of tape everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so stressful. It's my least favorite part of making scroll saw signs. But they look good, so it don't matter. Okay, so this is our halfway mark. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep this L bumped up to here, but I'm gonna scoot it to the left a little bit because it looks like my E is closer to the middle than my L. Okay. Now what we can do to check it is see how far our L is from the side.
We should have, it's okay.
This is 1.5 inches. And these letters are kind of hard because they have the curve in them. Like right here, they've got that curve. So like the E, for example, I don't necessarily need to go 1.5 inches from the edge to the corner of that E. I can kind of go from the edge to like in the middle of that curve. And that's at 1.5. So those are about the same distance, really. I mean, what do y'all think? Does it look crooked? Like, can y'all see it? Can you see I don't know what the view looks like overhead.
Well, it's pretty zoomed in right now.
Yeah.
But we can't zoom it out unless we stand on the table.
Here,
I don't think y'all want to
This is what I
on
think
the
we
table.
should do. I just want it, because
Right now, whenever you're making a sign and it's laying flat like this, it's really hard to get a good idea of like where everything is at. So I'm just gonna kind of put a couple pieces of tape and I'm gonna stand it up. I'm gonna take that wreath off and stand it up so we can just see. So I'm gonna point this to y'all. Lauren, can you see it?
Yes.
Is it pretty straight?
I think so.
I mean, it looks pretty straight to me on the thing.
I think it looks great.
Okay. Okay, so now that my E is the only one that has transfer tape, so I'm going to take off the tape that I used to hold the stencil in place. My E is where I want it, but I want to have pieces of tape all the way around my E so I know where to like sit it back down into. Does that make sense? I'm just going to cut little pieces. I'm going to cut a piece for there, and y'all are probably like, oh my gosh, it's too many pieces of tape. But I promise this is going to give you the nicest line, like alignment. Okay, and I'm going to lift, my transfer tape goes over a little bit. I'm just going to lift it up and put a piece over here so I know how far to keep it from the edge. Okay. All right. This one was holding it down. We'll just scooch him over. So I'm going to have to peel off the backing from my letter now, but I've got my blue tape all the way around my E. So when I take it up, I'm gonna know exactly where to sit it back down, and y'all can see that there. So I'm just gonna take off this back grid piece. The stencil and the transfer tape need to come off together. And then I'm gonna apply this using the taco method. And I'll say the good thing about stencil vinyl is that it's not as sticky as like permanent vinyl. So those of you that have tried using permanent vinyl as a stencil, that it's a lot harder to maneuver around. Like this is sticky, but it's not that sticky. Okay, wasn't breathing.
Okay, breathe. You good, you good.
Okay. I'm gonna actually use Zebra. Okay.
Yeah, I think that would work better for this specific.
Yeah, and it gets it down there really good.
Do you have or need the heat gun?
We might have it in here.
I was just gonna go grab it for you while
Yeah, go grab it. That'd be great, actually. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove my transfer right here. Okay. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and set this on my L because we're gonna use it again. I'm using the taco method here, sort of. Let's move our wreath out of the way. So we're gonna taco method, and remember, the better your transfer goes down, the better your stencil will lay. You can see here on my E, there's a little bit of a bubble. Try to get out any bubbles around the edge of your stencil. You want to get those out. Okay. Now we've got transfer on our L. I'm going to take some of these pieces of tape that were around my E and place them around my L now because we don't really need the ones around our E anymore because it's already on there. So this way we know exactly where to place it. Make sure, can y'all see what I'm doing? Sadie, you tell me if we can't. Okay. So there's a piece there.
Someone asked, is this stencil vinyl reusable? I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's not reusable. This isn't like the Mylar ones.
Yeah, this is not a, you can, I mean.
This is like our custom sign way to do things. Okay, so we've got all edges of our L. I'm just going to remove the backing from our stencil, just like we just did with the E. And then we're just going to line it back up. Ooh, child. About stuck down. Listen, it'll make you sweat. It'll make you sweat, guys. Okay. So my stencil wasn't on there very good on the top edge of that L, so I'm going to be very careful pulling that off and make sure that the top of my L lays down nicely. Okay, Okay, and you can see there's a few bubbles, which we can iron those out a little bit with our finger. Okay, we've got 2 letters on. One more. Got one more to go.
One more.
One mo. I'm going to move the wreath, and I'm going to pull this down so y'all can see what I'm doing. Does anyone have any questions about what we're doing right now? Anybody?
Nope. Not so far.
And I just want to encourage you all, if you are new to sign making or like stencil making for that matter, especially using this type of stencil vinyl, don't give up after the first few tries because it can be finicky, but when you really learn how to use it, it can be really fun. You know, it's not like, it's a fun craft, I think. I mean, I made a whole business out of it, so what my opinion about it is gonna be good, but. So I'm just taking some of the tape from around the L, and I'm gonna make sure that this N is framed in. And we really wanna make sure that we've got a piece over here. Okay, so all of our stencils are down. I went ahead and took the wreath off so you all can kind of see what the situation is now. We'll worry about getting all this blue tape off here in a minute. The next thing that we need to do is apply a base coat to our stencils. Now, there's debate about this. You can use Mod Podge, that's fine. If you're used to using Mod Podge, to each their own. I prefer a base color that is a similar color to whatever I'm painting. So, hypothetically speaking, if this was a wood, like a stained backer, I would use a brown paint similar to the color of stain I was using. But it's white. This is like a whitewash, so I'm going to use a white paint, any white paint that's similar to the color of the base of your sign. That's what you want to use. That's our first coat. So I'm going to go ahead and open this, and we're just going to do like a good thin layer on top of each of the letters, making sure not to go outside of our stencil.
This is the key to get those crispy lines.
This is the ticket.
The ticket. So this is the hack, the true hack for today.
And I'll say this, it needs to be flat or chalk paint.
Yep. Pull that down just a little bit.
Okay. The reason that...
If you can. There you go.
The reason that I say flat, matte, or chalk paint is because if you all use a glossier satin paint, those paints have latex in them, and the latex causes the paint to stretch. So whenever you peel off your stencil, it will peel off your paint. So like the paint will stick to your vinyl stencil, and then it'll ruin your project, which is really annoying. Especially after like we've done all this work. Imagine like if I peeled it off and the paint came with it. And sometimes it doesn't do that, but a lot of times it does. Like I would honestly say like not 85 to 90% of the time, if I use a latex paint, it messes up. So this white, we really want to focus on going over all of the edges of our stencil. It's basically sealing in the divots in the wood so that whenever we go to apply the green can't seep underneath our stencil.
So if you all can see it in the overhead, you can see where the wood has the graining. Like she was saying, this is just prevents that green from spreading.
Yeah. So if we just went in with the green willy-nilly, it's very likely that our paint would seep under our stencil, and then it just would not look ideal. It would be like runny. You would have to go back and fix a lot. This pretty much, I won't say 100% works, but like 99%. I mean, it looks good. The one I did for Courtney and Tanner's house, I did not have to touch up at all. Like it was good after the first time. So just make sure you're really focusing on those edges. Make sure everything's a good thin coat. And then we're going to move to the next letter. Okay. And we're using the StarCraft chalk and mineral paint for this white, but you can use any flat, matte, or chalk white paint, or whatever color your base is. Okay, so now we just need to let this air dry or hit it with the heat gun, and I'm going to use the heat gun to just speed up the process. Okay.
But really and truly, like this chalk paint, any matte or chalk paint dries like extremely fast.
Yes.
So
Jacqueline says, my base color is a red satin finish. How can I use this method successfully? So there's a couple ways that you can do it. You can make sure that you use stencil vinyl on top of a satin finish. like the CRAFTS stencil vinyl, you can spray. There's a Krylon matte clear finish spray, and it like mattifies your paint. You can buy it at Lowe's and Home Depot, and it's amazing. It looks so good. And then do the stencil on top of that. Those would be my 2 recommendations, I think, for if you have a satin base already. I would mattify your base, or yeah, I think that would probably be the best bet, really. Okay, we'll let that L sit and dry while I paint the other ones. Okay, so we're gonna need to do a couple coats of this green paint on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start, because we're like on the hour right now, which I knew this would take forever. I really, really like to paint in the same direction. It makes it look super smooth and consistent. So if you're painting in horizontal brush strokes, you wanna do that throughout the whole project. And make sure that you're not getting too much paint on your brush. Otherwise, whenever you're flicking it back and forth, you're gonna be more likely to like flick paint onto your base, and we don't want to do that.
Painting in the same direction is a lot like coloring in the same direction. Like if you are coloring or, anything like that, it's like when your strokes go vertical and then turn horizontal, like
you can see it.
You can see it.
Right.
So same thing with your brush strokes when you're painting. If you're painting horizontal, you need to try your best to stay horizontal and not go horizontal and then vertical.
Yeah, precisely. Okay, I need wire cutters. I've got my little wreath right here, and I've got some eucalyptus and some magnolias.
You want to pass me that sign over here? Or is it good where it's at?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to add it. I don't know why I even snipped that off, because I can just add these in. And really, I should hot glue these, but y'all get the gist, right? I'm just going to put these in here. You could just put a little bit of hot glue on there so that they stay on really well.
This is one suggestion that I have for this. So this is could be a sign that you could use over and over, like each year, even when your decor changes.
Yes.
So my suggestion with adding this greenery, we're doing eucalyptus and magnolia because that's the theme that Courtney and Tanner had going for their house this year. Is we added in with the evergreen, we added in eucalyptus and magnolia.
Right.
So I would just add the smallest amount of hot glue, and tomorrow when you see the video of the actual sign, that wreath is a sign that I think Courtney said that she's used for like 3 or 4 Christmases now, and we just keep adding the smallest bit of hot glue just to keep that greenery or whatever you're adding in there just enough to keep it in there. And then like this year we took it all out, all that, because we had red berries in it last year.
Yeah.
So we took all of the red berries out and just added in the different greenery. So you can reuse a wreath. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It can be reused, and we do reuse a lot of things around here.
So this is like the finished wreath. You can add in more or less or whatever. Y'all just add in whatever your heart desires.
Do it with your heart.
Do it with your heart. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and peel off my stencil vinyl. I'm going to move all this out of the way. Some people, a lot of people.
Throw that greenery in the floor for right now.
Do what?
Throw that greenery in the floor for right now, the extra, just to get it out of your way.
A lot of people will be like, do we need to dry it first? No, you don't have to. Actually, I prefer it to be a little bit wet whenever I peel it off. So I'm just going to take my weeding tool and I'm going to pull this off. And this is where the magic happens, everybody. And if you are pulling this off and you're pulling it off while it's still wet, make sure that you're very careful that your stencil vinyl does not go back to touch the base of your sign. You're going to be getting paint in places you don't want it. Okay, there's our first one. Okay, scooch this up. Oops. Okay. I scraped my E a little bit.
So crispy.
It's so crispy. Okay. And sometimes the stencil vinyl will tear, and that is okay. The E I was a little bit less, or a little bit more careless with, and so there's like a couple of spots that I'm gonna have to touch up. I don't know if y'all can see it. You can probably see that one.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, and you can see right here, my L had a bubble in it earlier, and y'all watched me flatten it out, but it's because I did not transfer this on the best. That top edge did not transfer on the best. So you can see how important it is to make sure that your edges are, or that your transfer tape is on there smoothly and that you apply it really flat. And then that's it. Let's run the heat gun on this, and then we're gonna.
Oh, I see that now, that bubble.
Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna dry this top of this L and the side of this N because we're gonna add in a nail for our wreath. And we can peel off all of our little blue tapes. So key ideas here. Make sure you're painting a base color of the color that your base is painted.
Yes.
And then we want to make sure we're using matte flat paint. And those are like the main things. Those are like the two main ticket items. Okay, let's add a hammer, or let's add a nail in. Let me grab the hammer. This is gonna be loud. Should we do it?
It's okay.
What I'm gonna do is put our wreath on here to make sure it's exactly where, I'm hoping these leaves don't fall out. I should have glued them, but I forgot to turn the hot glue gun on.
It's all good.
Is that in a good spot?
I don't know that it's, I can't see it.
Sadie, can you see it? Good.
I think it's good. Looks
Okay.
good from over here.
I'm gonna just put a little,
Little nail guy.
I don't know if y'all can see that, but I can. And then I'm just gonna nail this in here. Remember, you don't want anything too long.
This is where you're going. You definitely want to be careful.
This board is like flimsy, so it doesn't want to go in.
Really and truly, you could
Use a command hook.
a command hook or a thumbtack, couldn't you?
Yeah, probably, but I don't think we have a thumbtack. That's not in enough. I just already know.
Oh, that makes me so nervous watching it from over here.
Okay. That may not hold. Okay. Use a command hook if you need to.
I would for sure suggest a command hook.
Okay, that's it. An hour and 10 minutes later. Actually, that was pretty fast considering we made an entire sign.
It is.
So that
very
just
fast
shows
for
you
an
how
entire sign.
how fast y'all can make this in. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's it. That's it.
I love it.
Okay, cool, fun.
We have people say we are going to be making Santa wax seals. So if you have kids in your life where you wanted to do a special Santa letter, we're going to be teaching you how to do that. But I'm also, and this is just kind of a last minute thing, we're just going to make a card, an envelope, a card. Listen, I had this issue earlier.
Keep saying card instead of envelope.
Yes. So we're going to throw
We'll
in
get
an
there.
envelope for good measure to seal the envelope with.
Yes.
Because it's very simple. We already have plenty of envelope files on our website, so we're going to be using our scoring wheel. The scoring wheel is not going to be on the supply list because, like I said, this is a very last minute thing.
Right.
So,
And I also think it would be really cute to use our sketch fonts to add, like instead of using your handwriting, if you wanted to address it, you could
Yes.
add in with the sketch fonts and a pen tool and do all, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
very much so.
Like more official, you could use like metallic pens and stuff. So just a fun little addition.
okay. You want to know what I literally forgot and didn't realize that we don't have?
What?
The finished product.
Oh,
I don't know where it's at.
Let me get it, girl.
Anyway, so while she's grabbing that, we'll go ahead and go overhead and talk about the materials that you're going to need. So this is just our little, I guess, stand that our candle goes in. So we got this come in the kit. on Amazon. Oh, and here's our finished product. Look at there.
So cute.
Look how cute.
I love it.
Love it. So, anyway, this is a kit. We got all of this as a kit, and it did come with some wax. It came with like a variety of wax, a lot of different colors, but it didn't have a lot of the colors that I needed. So you have this little stand. It comes with your tea candles. This is what you pour it with, so it sits right there. And then this is just a blank like press. So this is going to be key to get a blank one. Now this does unscrew. So if you wanted to get one that actually has like a design already made in it, you can do that. But for this, because we are cutting our design on the Cricut, we wanted a flat press. So you can buy different presses. That's completely up to you. So this, like I said, this comes as a kit. Now, because we are doing Christmas, we wanted to do Christmas colors. So I actually found this on Amazon that has the red, like the burgundy and the white and the gold. So you can really do really cool Christmas colors with this. They have different kits that come with like a different mixture depending on what color scheme or theme you're going for. So this is also on Amazon. I think I linked the separate red and white down below, but if I can, I will add this link later after if you wanted to buy this specific thing of wax. I actually found this after I had linked the red and white, so I just forgot to add that to the list down below. Obviously, we have a lighter. We have to have a lighter. This is going to come in very handy, not only to light your candle, but also to heat this up to get our S to stick to it before we press it. This is our Nikapa standard grip mat. This is just going to be for our card making, just to keep our paper on the mat. I have just a regular silicone spatula. They have those like metal artist palette, like the, what is it called?
I don't know what
Like
they're called, but I know what you're talking about.
An artist spatula. That's
Yes.
what Loretta uses.
They're much thinner than that would be.
Yes, so that's what she uses. I didn't specifically go out and buy because I got it to work with this spatula just to kind of spread, and it worked fine with me.
Yeah.
Fine for me. So I'm not saying go out and buy that. I'm just saying this worked. I've got a mini spatula linked down below. So, and then this is just extra tools that I have in case I need it. Now this is going to be where it's going to be key. This is an old Cricut mat or an old whatever, Cargy, however you want to say this. Anyway, this is just a palette knife,
Yep.
Tracy.
I should know that. I
You
paint
should
with
know
that.
Palette knife, yes. Anyway, an old mat, but here's the key. The Mylar or the film that protects the mat needs to be on top of it, okay? This is going to keep that wax, protect your mat. So it doesn't have to be an old mat. The only reason I say an old mat is because if I turn this over, I don't know, can they see this, Sadie, like on the back where it's kind of like bubbled up a little bit right here? So that's where the wax does get hot. It's not, now this mat is still usable, but it does kind of make it a little wonky if
Like
your
it shrinks it up a little bit.
Yeah, if your wax gets too hot. So that's why I say your best bet is going to be to use an old mat and just use the protective film over it, okay?
Interesting.
So that is that's it.
Okay.
Pretty
I'm
simple.
excited.
This is going to be the finished, the finished product looks like. I love how, like, I don't know. It looks so clean.
It looks like it came from the North Pole, if you're asking me.
Looks like it came straight from the North Pole.
I
Straight
love
from
it.
the North Pole. April, I did not use a silicone mat. The reason that I didn't use a silicone mat is because this mat still has to go in our Cricut. So we still have to use a Cricut mat so that it can be pulled through our Cricut.
But listen, if wax seals catch fire, Cricut needs to get on it. They need a silicone mat that you can send through the Cricut.
I mean,
That would be cool,
I'm
wouldn't
here
it?
for it.
If somebody knows where we can get a silicone mat that would go through the Cricut.
What is a Silpat mat?
Oh, I don't know. Let me Google it.
Please do.
Silpat mat.
S-I-L-P-A-T. Silpat mat instead.
Oh, it's like the ones that you lay in your stove, in your oven.
Oh, yeah.
Like the rubbery.
Yeah.
It's once again, it has to go through the Cricut. So I'm just gonna say.
I mean, if you could cut a 12 by 12 inch one, maybe.
But will the Cricut recognize that, Matt? Is my next question.
Probably not.
That's why I'm saying Cricut mat, Mylar, or the protective film over top of it is going to be your best bet.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let's turn our computer on, and we're just going to go ahead and hop over into Design Space here in just a second. And if you guys have any questions, they say it's for baking. I am still going to say your best. I think you just need to use your Cricut mat with the Mylar over top of it.
Yeah.
So we are going to hop over into Design Space later.
If there's I mean, it would be cool to find another option. So Loretta, that was her name. That Loretta does the wax seals, right?
Yes.
So does she go through mats a lot? Like, does she have to get a bunch of new mats all the time?
I don't know.
I feel like it would wear your mats out like fairly quickly, considering you've made one.
Right.
Well, you made a few testing it, but like already.
I know I made quite a bit.
Right.
I poured a lot of wax on that mat.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't look too bad. So I guess they probably wear out faster than a normal Cricut use mat would, but.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm probably going to turn mine around and do it on the opposite side today.
Yeah.
So what we are going to, now that we're here in Design Space, I'm going to show you the font that we're going to be using is Century. And then the envelope that we're going to be using, I'm pretty sure is called like Envelope 3. But we're going to hop over here. We're going to go to our cut files, and I'm just going to double check. So we are going to envelope, search this, and I will show you how you can download Maker's Gonna Learn cut files. Very simple for those that are new here. We may not have any new ones. So we're gonna yes, envelope 3 is the one that we're going to be using today. So what you're gonna do is you are going to click this cloud icon that has the arrow pointing down, and that's going to download it onto your computer. Then you're going to open up and unzip the file, and then from there, you are going to pull up Cricut. We're going to go, let's bring this down just a hair. Then we're going to go to upload. Now to upload images, you're going to click here, and then from there, if I can find it.
I'm adding the the envelope file. I'm going to add it to our supply list really quick.
Awesome. So you're going to drag and drop that here. It's going to upload it. It is a cut image. And then we're going to select it and add it to our canvas. Simple, super easy. Now, one thing I'm going to do, this is unlocked, so I want to come up here and unlock it. And I'm just going to go ahead and size this down. Now, 5 is a little smaller than what you're going to want to go for. However, so this, let's go ahead and delete this out, and I'm going to show you guys. So from here, before we start doing anything else, you can see that here we have a basic cut, and here we have a basic cut. What we need to do is take that basic cut, come over here to operations, and we're going to change that to score, okay? So now this is going to score around the inside of your card so that the flaps fold in, and it's not going to cut that off. Once again, come over here because we want this as a score line and not a cut line. We're going to come over here to operations and change it to score. Now, this inset piece is not something that you have to have. This is just to kind of elevate your envelope if you want to. So what you would do before you ungroup all of this, my suggestion is size it up a little bit and then come over here to ungroup. What that is going to do is that is going to ungroup this from this, okay? So now once I pull this over here and line up those score lines, you can see that it fits just on the inside of that envelope so that it kind of gives it a little, it elevates it. So you could do like a cream color on the inside.
Yeah.
Which would be beautiful.
Yes.
So now we see that this is a 7.5 by 6.3. So we are using 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is just our regular, this is actually white core cardstock. We really didn't have a good color green that I wanted that was solid core. So let me show you what I mean by the difference. So when I tear this cardstock, you all see that that has a white core on the inside. So when you go to cut it, on the edges, it's going to be white. So with this specific project, I would personally go for a color core cardstock, but like I said, we did not have a green color core that I really liked. We definitely need to get on that, get some more green with Christmas coming up.
It actually blows my mind because we have a lot of cardstock.
We have so much cardstock, but
so
our
much.
green, I think it's because we use so much cardstock.
Yeah. We pick out our favorite colors, like especially around Christmas. We have our favorite
We
greens
use so much
and-
green during
Yeah,
Christmas, especially with cardstock, card making, envelope making, all of that stuff. We really use so much. So I think that's why we don't have the good like color core cardstock that I want. So we're just doing this
We're
today.
going with what we got.
We're going with what we got. We're not going to buy something. We're not going to, you know, y'all know I like to save money. I am all about saving me some money. So I'm just going to make sure that this fits properly. So it's 7.5, which means it's going to fit in my 8.5 size. I'm going to hide this for the time being because I do not need that. And I'll go ahead and do the liner so that you all can see the liner because I really think you're going to enjoy that liner, seeing that. So I'm just going to make sure that my cardstock is really good and on my mat. So once that is done, I am going to come over here to make it. It is going to separate this out. So there, oh, okay. Do you all see this? There's nothing in the middle. Look, the score is over here. So we're going to cancel. We're going to go back. So we want that score line and this basic cut, and we are going to attach them together, okay? Then we're going to select this score line, which this one came to the back, that part came to the back. We're going to arrange, we're going to bring it to front. So we're going to select this score line and that, our liner basic cut, and then we are going to attach that as well. But we are not going to attach the outside and the liner together. We're just going to leave it how it is, okay? So now we are going to go to make it. Now you see the difference. You definitely need to make sure that you attach those score lines with the envelope, okay? So we're going to go to continue. We are connected via USB, and then we're going to go over here to popular. We are going to select medium cardstock. I'm not really sure. Oh, I guess it's because we're scoring first. So we're going to come over here to our Cricut. We are going to take our fine point blade out. We're just going to lay it over to the side because we will be using that. And we are going to put our scoring wheel in first. Okay. I'm going to move my notebook out from behind there. Now, once that scoring wheel is in place, we are going to load this mat into the Cricut. We're going to pray that see, this mat has a cut in it, but it'll be fine.
It's a good mat, though.
It's such a good mat.
I grab that mat all the time, and I'm like, oh, it made a sound, and then it's like, it's just cut.
Yeah. So once that has scored, we're going to pop this bad boy out, put our fine point blade in. We're going to keep this score wheel handy because we're going to need it for the next one. From there, all it's going to do, it's going to cut our card out. Now, attaching your liner to your card.
You need ATG?
An ATG gun. I'm telling y'all, this was so last minute that I decided, yeah, we're going to do a card. We're going to do a card refresher.
Does that wax?
I keep saying card. Envelope refresher.
Does that wax need to be melting while we're like hanging out?
Oh no, it don't take that long.
Really?
And if you, this is the thing. Don't start with your wax, like don't start melting your wax and letting it sit, because if it sits too long, it starts to bubble and it starts to overheat. And when it overheats and you spread it, it gets bubbles in it.
Oh, interesting. Also, we had to rewire this ATG gun, and good gravy. It was not a good time.
Okay, so this is a kind of a small envelope, but it's okay.
It's a little baby.
It's a baby.
It's a gift card.
It's a little literal gift card. It looks like a credit card would fit in it.
Santa's bringing Amazon gift cards to everybody this
Amazon
year.
gift cards for everyone.
You get a gift card. You get a gift card.
Okay, so now we're going to add our liner paper on here. I'm going to make sure it's down really well.
The score wheel and the score pen make like the same depth of indentation.
Yeah, so if you don't have a Maker series, definitely just use your scoring pen if you have an Explorer series. So that will, it's, either one is great. So once again, we're coming back in here. This is the only thing. It's either unload and reload the mat with the scoring wheel or change out the blades. So I guess Cricut thought it was easier. You have to change out the blades for both of these. So now I'm going to add in my liner paper. We change it out, it does the scoring first, okay?
If you're making, yes, you need to measure from your score lines if you're making a card that's gonna fit inside of your envelope.
Yes, so once this is done, I will show you, we'll go back and we will size, like you can click on the score lines and see what the measurements are. So that's what you need to measure when you're making your card. Make sure that your score lines are as wide as your card, or your card is like
Within those.
like a quarter inch inside the score line. Yeah.
Like a 0.15 or something.
Yes.
So it's just fits
So we'll go back and we'll walk you through that part too, just really quickly to do a refresher for everybody. Change. Okay. It scored very fast. I was about to just hit play with the scoring wheel in there.
It always scores so fast, and I'm like, oh wait, did it do it?
Did it do it? What? Okay, so we change it back to our fine point blade, pressing play on that. We're gonna move this guy out of the way.
In case anyone was wondering, we opened the Juliet yesterday.
Oh yes, we did.
We opened it. Sadie posted a TikTok of us opening it, and I'm gonna make something with it today. I've been working on the Epson printer, on the sublimation printer. Lord, send prayers, honestly.
Please send prayers.
I worked on it for 2 hours straight. I didn't even talk to Sadie for the first 2 hours of today because I was like on this printer. But anyways, we opened the Juliet, and I'm hoping that we can make something with it today. So we're really excited.
Did I not hit medium cardstock?
Did it not cut through?
No.
Your blade wasn't
My
all the way
blade was
in?
not all the way down.
Oops. Well, you can just recut it.
Okay, we're gonna redo this. We're gonna come back. You know what? Whatever. We'll just go with it. We'll score it again. Or act like we're scoring it again. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this out.
And
Just
just let
gonna
it
try to
score.
register it.
It's gonna say no scoring wheel
No
detected.
scoring wheel detected.
Maria says, I want to see. Listen, you can go watch the TikTok. It's on Instagram too, on Reels. But we just unboxed it. So we literally opened it up and did like a first impression.
And I think we did a test cut.
Yeah, we did like a tiny baby test cut. Like there's a test cut button on it. It's so nice. It's very sleek. We just barely piddled around in the design software.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to make something today and see what we think. I think we're going to be happy about it though.
Okay, so when you're changing out blades, one thing you need to make sure that your blade is all the way down in the housing, because mine was not pushed all the way down, so it didn't cut. So we're just gonna go again.
But it cut?
Thank the Lord, it was just the mat. It did cut.
So aggressive.
It is aggressive,
probably
and I
should
think it
stop
just straight
using
up
it.
it snapped the mat.
Oopsie.
Okay, guys, so
Don't use broken mat.
don't use broken mats.
What brand is that?
We're
Nicoba?
gonna throw this mat away.
The
just
Nicoba mats are
don't
so good. I just ordered a
understand.
bunch of new ones for us because
I'm so
good.
sad.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, maybe we could use this mat on this side for the wax seal.
Well, heck.
What heck? Look,
I
we're
like
just gonna do that.
I like the resourcefulness.
Resourcefulness. Okay. So yes, there are wax seal circle molds as well. We have I have seen those, but we're just gonna do it old school and just pray for the best. So now what I'm going to do to attach our liner, move all of this out of the way, to attach our liner to our envelope, I'm actually just gonna be putting the ATG, I'm gonna be putting our glue or tape, whatever you wanna use, on the back of the liner. That way I know it's going to be on there evenly. And then I've already folded this up. So I'm going to fold this up as well so that it fits just right up against there. And then we're just going to press it down.
So that's not like an insert that's removed. I thought you like wrote a note on that and then pulled it out.
No. So this is actually part of the envelope.
Okay. And then you can put a card in.
Yes.
With it. Oh, fancy.
Just to make it, yes, to make it very fancy. Okay. And then we're going to attach the top to that.
I love it.
See how beautiful?
Wow, that's cute, yeah.
And then what we will do from there, I'm going to add to the sides here, just a little bit of this ATG here and here. And then you pop that bad boy right there. And you have a cute little envelope.
Oh, she's cute.
This is like a perfect gift card size.
I know.
It really is.
Write it down. Make a sticky note.
And then what we will do, once that's finished, we will push this down and then we're going to seal it right here with our wax seal. How cute.
Lots of people are saying just slap some clear packing tape on the back of that mat and it'll work just like brand new.
Well, we may have to try it.
We might have to do it. We have 1,000 mats.
We do have 1,000 mats. So
we hoard mats here.
Putting my ATG gun up because I don't need it and I need it out of my way. So we're going to go back to Design Space. You all had asked, so ask and you shall receive. We are going to go back and I'm going to show you how you can size. So we are going to select this. So you see our measurements. It's still attached. I can still come over here, make this larger, bigger, whatever. So you need to measure your card or make your card the size of your scoring wheel. So what we're going to do to make this larger, I'm going to select them both. Make this bigger. So now we're looking at 11 and a little bit over, probably more like 11 1/3 inches by 9. So you're going to have to use a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So now I'm going to deselect all of those, select the score on the inside. So now you can have a card that is 6 inches by 4 inches, which is more of a card size.
Right.
So that's how, that is all you have to do. So from there you would create a card. You could actually duplicate that scoring, bring it down just a hair, change it to a basic cut, mirror it, add a scoring line up here. Very easy to make the cards. Mm-hmm. Super easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do the wax seal.
Are y'all ready for the wax seal? Okay, we did have a question. We did have a question.
Okay.
Are those cards mailable once they're sealed with wax? So my thing is, just to be on the safe side, if I was mailing it with the wax seal, I would probably add a little bit of like ATG or like glue dots or something and close it first if I'm mailing it.
Like seal it first.
Like seal it
without
first.
the wax seal.
I know that the wax seal it's there to seal it, and it does seal it pretty well. If you're going to mail it though, I'm just saying it's better to be safe than sorry.
Right.
So why not just go ahead and seal it and then add your little decorative wax piece?
Yes.
Kay Howler says, no, they aren't mailable. They will fall off.
Well, there you have it. It ain't the Pony Express anymore. You know, they're just they're throwing our Christmas cards around.
They're just throwing them everywhere. They're not sticking them in a bag and riding them across the country.
They're like, wax seal? We don't give a crap about that. But also shout out to our postal service because you all are the real
Yes,
MVPs.
USPS.
We're just making a joke.
We love you. You da bomb. You da bomb.
That's
okay.
funny.
So, with that being said, I'm going to take this off of this mat and we're going to put it on this one just since it's already broke. So I'm putting the Mylar. And as you can see, this was just a plastic covering. This was not a piece of Mylar. We do have Mylar that we cut, but this was one, I think, up from an old mat. This was just a covering from an old mat. So I'm just going to place that on here.
What would happen if you put parchment paper on there?
Like, would it stick, or do you think it would do well with parchment paper?
I just think this is the plastic covering would do a lot better. I've not done it with parchment paper, but parchment paper would be, I don't know, easier to roll. I don't know.
I might have to just play around. I haven't made one, so maybe I could try.
We may have to play around with that. So
I was just curious.
Anyway, what we're going to do first, remember we're using the Century font. So first thing you need to do is you need to measure your stamp. So this is about, I think it's like 1 1/4 inches. So back into Design Space, we're going to delete this out, and I'm just going to hide these so that I don't see it. And I'm going to bring my S back in. Once again, we're using Century font. So I actually made a couple of these yesterday. The 1 inch was a little big, so I'm going to scale this down to about a 0.8 in height. And I think that will be really good. So now we have that. We're gonna go ahead and click Make It. However, we're gonna stay right here on this thing before we go any further. So now, overhead, we are going to start the process of this wax.
Yay, I'm so excited. Light the candle.
Lighting the candle.
Oh my gosh.
Putting the candle over our little
Is this
stand.
Bridgerton? Do you guys watch Bridgerton also?
Yes, yes.
I'm obsessed with that show.
So I want to do a white S. So I'm putting about, I think yesterday I did about 6 or 7 of these little guys.
What?
In here.
I thought you did one.
No.
Well, heck.
Because if you do one, it's not going to pour correctly on here. You're not going to have enough.
Okay.
So it's better to have too much than not enough.
Right.
Okay? So we're going to let this melt. Now you can see it's going to start melting pretty quick. It doesn't take it very long to melt, but this is where you need to just go ahead and kind of start getting prepared, because what you're going to do is once this melts, you're going to pour it onto your mat in a line. Then you're going to take your spatula, your artist palette, whatever, and you're going to spread it. Now it's best if you just take it and spread it once. So you're not going to do like very firm pressure. You're not going to do like extremely light pressure. You want to do medium pressure. Just basically placing your artist palette, your spatula, whatever, just placing it down and then just dragging it with the weight of the spatula. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I remember now what I brought this little weeding tool in here for, is because I like to kind of mix it around.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know that I always tell you guys. I would recommend that to you guys. It's up to you.
It's like a little tiny pot.
We use a lot of different stuff that we probably shouldn't.
This is arts and crafts, okay?
This is
There's
arts and crafts.
no rules in arts and crafts. You can do whatever your heart desires. Listen, everybody's going crazy about the envelopes being shipped through USPS. You can ship them if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Ask your local USPS provider.
They will.
Don't ask us. We don't work for USPS.
And we're not shipping these.
Yeah.
So, it's okay though. Like if you do or you don't, it's okay.
Can you use a Teflon mat? I'm going to just say no, strictly because it has to be recognizable by the Cricut. Like it has to be able to pull through the Cricut. And I don't know that a Teflon mat can be pulled through the Cricut. So once it's melted, pretty quickly after it's melted, you're going to want to pour this on your mat. Because like I said, if it overheats, then it's going to get like bubbly. So can they see this, Sadie? Okay, so we're gonna take this, we're pouring it in a line.
Magic.
Down through here.
Oh my God.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this over and wipe that out. Take our spatula, and I'm gonna have to do this in 2 things. Pulling that, and pulling that. Okay.
Well, that's satisfying.
So satisfying. I would say to if I've always had residue come up with this, that's just how it is. Let this dry so you can peel it up, and then you can just reuse that wax. Same thing if for the areas that you don't cut, like this for example, I'm saving this wax because really and truly I could have put this back in our little thing and reused it. Okay, so keep your extra wax.
Fun tip.
Now, we're just gonna blow the candle out while we're waiting. Pull it to the side. Then what we're gonna do, so we have to make sure that this dries. It's still gonna be warm. That's okay. But it's good and dried. So now we're gonna hop back over to Design Space. What you're gonna do now is you are going to position your S where you poured and drug out your wax on your mat. So we are about 3 inches this way. So we're in like the 3rd square, 2nd square down, 4th square, right around in here somewhere. So we're adding them right there. Now you can duplicate this S and cut multiple at a time. We're just gonna cut one today, but you can do this cutting multiples. So just keep that in mind. We're now going to go to continue.
If they mess up spreading that wax, can they peel it off and redo it?
Yes, if you mess up spreading the wax, peel it off, melt it back down, do it again. Not a problem.
Love it.
Connecting to our maker. Now, once again, this can be done on a Maker, Explore series, whatever, because we are going to be cutting this on your everyday iron-on setting, but you are not going to mirror it. Okay? So once we have, actually, you know what? I think I am going to mirror it.
Why's that?
Why is that? Because if you look here, we've got some bubbles here, and I have discovered that on the back side, it seems to give you a little smoother of an effect.
Oh, yeah.
Where you drag it, it for some reason gave me bubbles. So I am going to mirror it. Just to test it.
Let's do it.
Do it. So we're going to mirror.
Whatever side looks better.
Normally, okay, so let's go to camera 1. Normally, it doesn't suggest that you mirror. Loretta said not to mirror. I'm going to try to mirror it this time just because I feel like the back side of the wax tends to look better for me. Once again, I'm not the queen of wax seals. I'm a novice. We just thought this was very cool and we wanted to show you guys how to do this.
Right.
So I'm going to mirror it. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to load this into our Cricut. Okay. Oh no. We're going to unload because this is not.
We don't like crunchy sounds.
I do not like crunchy sounds. Something happened with our film. It looks like I got it off a little bit. So this film, as you can see right here, it's a little off. I'm just going to
cut it.
We're just going to cut it so that it's even with our mat and doesn't give us issues.
Jenna said, when I ran out of ATG tape, I needed double-sided tape. I used the leftover tape from the window cover plastic kit. I'm thinking she's talking about the ones that you put on your windows.
Yes.
When you craft, you do what you have to do, especially when you have an order to fill.
Absolutely.
That's right. Like cutting your cover, plastic cover.
Like cutting your plastic cover. So sounds so much better already.
Oh, yeah. Trey's here. Griff Moto is my husband. So don't let him be being mean in the comments.
Okay. And now we're just going to send it through.
Megan, I don't think you could send the film in by
No,
itself.
I don't think it would. I personally don't think that it would recognize it.
Well, and it needs stability underneath it too. If you just send the plastic film through, it's not going to have any because it's not smooth when it goes under the rollers. Like all of that area under there's like divots and stuff like that. So I think the mat kind of gives you a lot of stability.
And that's it.
That was so fast.
It's done. Now, what you'll do is you can come in here. Now, because it was a little thicker, can you all see where it cut? But I think I poured a little too thick. So, but you can come in here and look, you can just tear this away and it tears away beautifully.
Should they move the rollers, you think, probably for this?
Yes, I would move the rollers to mine were already positioned where they didn't roll over this. So I would move the rollers around so that it doesn't roll over. So you're just going to tear this away.
So pretty.
So easy.
I'm just mesmerized by it.
And you can always use, if you're concerned that it's going to not cut through, you can always use more pressure, but you're going to use that HTV setting. Okay. And then once we tear that away, you have a beautiful S.
Ooh, she's cute.
Look how pretty.
I love it.
You need the guideline. I'm not sure what he means by the guideline.
You'll have to expand on it, Dave.
Yeah, please expand on that. So what we're going to do now that we have our S cut, we're just going to come back in here. We're going to light our candle back up. Lorraine, yes, you can move your star wheels. Mine were already, I don't think mine ran over it, so I didn't have an issue. If they did run over it, it still didn't bother it. But now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to heat this back up so I can get that white out of there. Very simple way to clean this. Just heat this back up, wipe it out with a paper towel.
Also, this is something I do with my wax melter at home, is if I accidentally let it, like if we let that whole white harden in there for some reason, you could stick it in the freezer and it'll literally slide right out.
Yes. We just used it, Lisa, we just used a fine point blade. Dave said on the mat for the Cricut to work, it needs the lines. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So now that as this is heating up.
This would be pretty to add dried flowers too.
Yes, that would
that.
be
I don't know for like a Santa theme, but like if you were writing a letter to your friend, or also, can we just bring that back? Like
just letters to friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
When I was younger, my grandmother wrote me letters all the time. She lived in Illinois, and she always wrote me letters on little notepad pieces of paper. I wish I kept them. I don't know where they would be at, but I always loved getting letters in the mail.
I'm doing 7 in here again just because to be on the safe side. I may not use all of that. So once that is, while that is doing its thing and melting, here is the next thing that that definitely needs to happen, okay? Take your lighter and we're going to heat up our stamp. Now it's not going to get super hot, okay? See, like it's not even hot at all. So it's going to take it a minute to heat this up, but we just want it warm enough so that the S or whatever design you're doing is going to stick to this plate, okay? So we're just going to make sure that this gets warm enough here. Do as I say, not as I do.
Don't you burn them fingernails off.
I'm not. I'm not. Look, it's not, but it's not even hot yet. And I guess it's because it's such thick metal.
What is it? What is it, like brass?
I mean, it's warm.
Is it real brass?
It's warm, but it's not like hot. So once that is warm, I'm just going to come in here with my S, and I'm just going to place this down on it, and then it just picks it up, and I can move this around.
Oh.
See?
Well, dang, that's cool.
And so it doesn't mess up your design, but it keeps it on your plate, okay? So that's why it's important to just heat this up a little bit so that we can get that on there, okay?
Okay.
So now that this is melting, we're just going to take this and we're going to stir it around. It's getting close.
Someone said, Tracy said put pretty sprigs of pine into it. Would be really cute. Very classy.
This would be very cute for like if you were doing, not only for cards and stuff, but also for presents.
Yeah.
Like just putting the sprigs of pine in it.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm going to do, you know what, we're just going to go for it here. Nah, no, we're not. I'm just going to, look. We're just going to ATG this just a little tiny bit right here. We're just going to, to keep him down.
Just to hold it all
to hold him there while I pour, okay? So then you're going to come in here in a circle around where you want it to be. And then you're going to you're going to take your stamp. Now this is going to be off center. it'll be okay.
I'm so excited.
I hope my S is not crooked.
Beauty and imperfection, Lauren.
I keep telling myself that.
That's what we like to see.
And then you just let this guy sit for a minute.
And so it just has to cool off before you can take it off.
Yep.
Very cute.
My S was crooked, but that's okay. I was just really concerned about getting that on there. So my S is crooked, but really and truly it should look like this. But, okay, so here's what I did with this one. Instead of sealing this specific thing with this wax seal, you can seal it with the wax seal. What I did was I made these. I made this one, and I made quite a few of them. And if you want it to be perfectly symmetrical, you can get the wax molds, like the wax seal molds. We had somebody talk about that. One thing I will say, and this comes from Loretta, all credit to her. She said, I'm going to blow this out. She said that there was one wax seal mold that had the straight sides, smoke, which doesn't look like a true wax seal, but there was a wax seal brand of mold that had more of the curved side, that if you wanted it perfectly symmetrical, you can. But the thing with wax seals is they were not perfectly symmetrical when they used them.
Right. I like it when it's not perfectly symmetrical.
See, they said, I like the crooked one better.
See?
It's all perspective, guys.
It is.
But you can make these, what I did with this one, you can make these like in big batches. And then once you've made them, all I did with this one is I took a little bit of hot glue on it and tacked it down.
Yeah, someone mentioned that they would probably do that. They would make them on a silicone mat.
And then really and truly, I could, if I had made this before sealing it onto this card, I could come in here and trim off this edge, like cut it off.
Right.
And then position it straight and just hot glue it down.
Yeah. Megan made a good point. She said she would put a cross on top of the handle to line it up when you place the stamp.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
But then when you are putting your design on here, your design is going to be different ways all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys get the gist, but I still love it.
I think it's very cute.
What do you guys think?